Chapter 533. When he returned to the surface of the sea, Charlotte not only brought back the things in the treasure point, but also picked up the weapons and equipment that had sunk to the bottom of the sea. Seeing Charlotte emerge from the water, Long Bing said excitedly, "You're finally back. If you didn't come back, I would have come down to find you." When she saw Charlotte, she was not concerned about the things in the treasure point, but about Charlotte. Charlotte climbed onto the yacht, but he couldn't stand firm and stumbled and fell on the deck. He had relied on the mysterious energy in his body to survive until now. When he returned to the yacht, the pressure of survival suddenly disappeared. As soon as he relaxed, he felt as if his bones had been removed, and he could no longer hold on. "Are you all right?" Long Bing hurried to help him. Charlotte hurriedly said, "Don't come over." "You." Long Bing didn't know why Charlotte was like this. Charlotte said, "This time we found 22 pieces of ancient alloy, a very large number. Don't come close to me. It's very dangerous." Only then did Long Bing understand why Charlotte didn't let her go over. At the same time, she was also shocked by Charlotte's words. "How long did it take me?" Charlotte asked. "1 hour," Long Bing said. Charlotte subconsciously looked at the sea and suddenly remembered something. "Hurry up and sail. We have to get out of here." "But you—" Long Bing looked at Charlotte worriedly. Charlotte said, "I'm fine. I'll recover after a rest." "All right, I'll drive the boat." Long Bing walked to the cockpit. Charlotte suddenly stopped her. "By the way, where are you going?" "It's not far from Jiayu Island," Long Bing said. "Our fuel reserves will allow us to sail to that area of the sea. As long as we cross that area of the sea, we can contact our Navy and escort us back. Then let's follow your plan." Charlotte heaved a sigh of relief, then lay motionless on the deck, waiting for the moment when his strength and spirit recovered. A minute later, Long Bing started the yacht and headed for Jiayu Island under the guidance of the navigation device. With the boat and fuel reserves, there was no need for her and Charlotte to return to Okinawa. With the passage of time, Charlotte's physical and mental strength also recovered little by little. Half an hour later, he climbed up from the deck. The night sky moved slowly in his field of vision. The stars were far away, but did not lose their brilliance. They were dazzling. The salty sea breeze caressed his cheeks and carried away his thoughts. "Last time, Princess Yong Mei wanted my AE capsule in the basement of the Thunder Horse military factory. This time, she wants to attack me. But she said she couldn't hurt me because I was the only one. Then, could it be that her attack on me was fake? She was actually trying to snatch my AE capsule?" What happened in the shipwreck at the bottom of the sea emerged in Charlotte's mind bit by bit, and it also aroused his vigilance. At that time, releasing Princess Yong Mei was indeed a rash decision without careful consideration. However, this did not affect Charlotte's idea of releasing her and having a good talk. He already had 29 pieces of ancient alloy in his hands, and the whole box was only missing 1 piece of ancient alloy. This meant that he already had a box in his hands that was only missing 1 part. In this case, how complete would Princess Yong Mei be when she was released? It was difficult to be sure, but it was certain that she was almost complete like the box. A complete Princess Yong Mei must know a lot of secrets about AE. This idea excited Charlotte. He even had the urge to immediately put together the box and release Princess Yong Mei again. However, in the end, he gave up this tempting idea. The reason why he gave up was because of Long Bing. Princess Yong Mei couldn't hurt him, but she could hurt Long Bing. If Princess Yong Mei vented her resentment on Long Bing, it would be terrible. "Lei, are you better?" Long Bing's voice came. Charlotte put away his thoughts. He responded, "I'm much better. Don't worry. I'll go hide the things and come back to you." Long Bing watched Charlotte enter the cabin. After a long while, she murmured a sentence. "You're hiding a secret. You don't want to tell me. Is it because you have something difficult to say? Or even you don't know? Are you also looking for the answer?" A woman's mind and intuition were sometimes very accurate. 10 minutes later, Charlotte returned to the cockpit, carrying a large bag in his hand. "What is it?" Long Bing glanced at it and asked. Charlotte opened the bag, revealing the things inside. Those were the jewelry, porcelain, and Princess Yong Mei's bronze mirror that he got from the cabin. Charlotte said, I found these things from the treasure point. You could take whatever you like. Long Bing just glanced at it. Just take it, I don't want it. Why not? Charlotte said with a smile. If you don't want it, how can I take it? Do you want me to give it to the state? If you want me to do this, I will do it. Long Bing said, I don't like these things. I also have my principles. Really, just take it, I don't want it. Then I'll give it to the state. Don't. Long Bing added, you've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on this operation. Boss sure won't reimburse you for such a large amount of money. According to his style, I'm afraid our operation budget will not exceed 300,000 yuan, and it's in Chinese currency. You can take these things as your reimbursement for the bill. Besides, just take it. If I need money in the future, I will ask you for it. Charlotte smiled. Then I'll take it. I'll buy you a good car and add some high-end appliances to your house. Well, don't you like the big bathtub with surfing function? Buy one, redecorate it, and install a big bathroom. Long Bing stared at Charlotte. You want to buy me a car? You want to renovate my house, buy high-end appliances, and buy a big bathtub. Do you want to keep me? Xiaolei was stunned. Yes. Was he going to keep Chief Long as his mistress? In fact, he absolutely did not have such a thought in his heart. But from the way he spent it, what was the difference between this and those rich people keeping their mistresses? Forget it. What's the difference if I have a sugar daddy or not? I don't want to replace Shen Tiannin's position. If you want to renovate my house, just do it. Install a big bathtub too. You will need to use it when you come over. But I have to say, after the house is renovated, you have to come over and stay one night a week. Charlotte, was he lifting a rock to smash his own foot? That. Long Bing seemed to be embarrassed, and she changed the topic. Oh yes, did you find a new needle this time? Charlotte's thoughts returned to business. Yes, I'll change it and see where the next treasure spot is. Charlotte took off the old needle on the compass and replaced it with a new one that was found in the shipwreck. Once the needle was installed, it suddenly turned around and returned to its original position. What's going on? Charlotte stared at the compass, dumbfounded. Long Bing also looked over and stared at the compass. Both of them thought that the compass would soon have a new movement, pointing in a certain direction, and then vibrating. However, a full minute passed, and there was no movement from the compass. Is it broken? Long Bing couldn't help but feel puzzled, and broke the silence. I don't know, said Charlotte. In addition to confusion, he was more depressed. In this situation, he couldn't find the next treasure spot. If he couldn't find the next treasure spot, he wouldn't be able to find the best ancient alloy parts, and he wouldn't be able to put all the parts together to complete the box. If he couldn't put together the complete box, how could he solve the final secret? After putting in so much effort and experiencing so much, if he couldn't solve the final mystery, he wouldn't be happy for the rest of his life. But just as Charlotte was full of depression, wondering if the compass had been damaged by the huge pressure in the deep sea, the needle on the compass suddenly trembled, and then suddenly rose, pointing in the direction of the sky. What was even more strange was that Charlotte originally had the needle on the compass, but at this time, it had separated from the compass and floated on the connecting rod that held the needle in place, as if it had no gravity. Charlotte and Long Bing were stunned, and their eyes slowly moved up from the needle, staring blankly at the ceiling above their heads. The next treasure spot was in the sky. This was undoubtedly a huge joke. With the current level of human technology, although it was possible to land on the moon, it was something that could only be achieved with the strength of a country, and they could only land at a predetermined landing point, so the range of movement was very small. A very simple example was that the Americans had landed on the moon, but they only planted a star-spangled flag on it. The Chinese also landed on the moon, but the range of movement of the astronauts was definitely more than 2 football fields. Current technology could only reach this level. Think about it. What kind of conditions would be needed to go to the sky to find the next treasure spot? In fact, even if China had the ability to send Charlotte to the moon, there was more than one moon in the sky above their heads. If it wasn't on the moon, how could they dig for treasure? Ha ha! Charlotte couldn't help but laugh, and he laughed inexplicably. Long Bing was silent for a while, then comforted him, "Don't worry, maybe there's a problem with the compass. If it really is somewhere deep in the sky, and you can't go up, then it's okay. You've done your best, and the country will not forget your contribution." Charlotte couldn't laugh, because only he knew that he wasn't just researching the secret of AE for the country, but also for himself. He was connected to this matter to his bones, so how could he let it go? But at this moment, the needle that was floating on the connecting rod of the compass fell down, and it actually returned to its original position. Its return seemed to have gone through a precise measurement, and it was extremely accurate. The compass stopped again, and there was no new movement. What was going on? Charlotte stared at the needle, and his imagination ran wild, but it was useless. A minute later, the needle stood up again, pointing to the sky. After a period of time, it returned to its original position again. It seems to be accumulating energy, and when it reaches a certain level, it will point the way. What kind of energy is it? Is it the energy of the compass itself? Or is it some other kind of energy? Charlotte wondered in his heart. The yacht cut through the waves, carrying a ship full of questions, and stealthily moved in the darkness. Dawn would eventually come, but before that, there was still darkness that was difficult to dispel. Chapter 534. The straight-line distance between the treasure spot on the sea and the Jiaoyu Island was about 300 kilometers. The small yacht sailed at 30 knots and entered the sea after 12 hours. This was a sea region that was full of disputes. Japan had forcibly occupied this sea region and exercised military control. The United States was also supporting them from behind, adding to the rising Huan nation. However, this sea area had belonged to China since ancient times, and Japan's control would not last long. But now, this sea area, which originally belonged to China, had become the most dangerous sea area, and Charlotte and Long Bing had to cross it. "I'm afraid we're already on the radar of the Japan Self-Defense Forces at this moment," said Long Bing, who was driving the yacht. She had been a little nervous since entering this sea area. Charlotte said, "This is our place. What can the radar of the Japan Self-Defense Forces do to us? We're just an ordinary small yacht. Do you think they can fire at us?" Long Bing curled up the corner of her mouth and said, "Don't underestimate the control of the Japanese right wing over the Japanese government, and don't underestimate the arrogance of the Japan Self-Defense Forces. They are unreasonable. Otherwise, they would not have occupied the sea area that has belonged to us since ancient times." Xia Lei felt a little uncomfortable in his heart, but there was nothing he could do about it. "Lei, you drive the yacht. I'll contact Mr. Shi and ask him to send someone to pick us up," said Long Bing. "Okay." Charlotte walked over and took over the rudder. While driving the yacht, his eyes glanced at the compass on the table from time to time. The pointer had been repeatedly inverted and returned to its original position. Now, the compass was like a man with a strong ability in that aspect. It stood up and down, and every 2 minutes there would be a climax. Occasionally, Charlotte would look at the sky through the cockpit and couldn't help but guess where the next deep place in the sky was. This kind of speculation always made him depressed, and there was a deep sense of powerlessness in his heart. Long Bing soon ended the call with Sherborne. She said to Charlotte, "I've told Mr. Shi about our situation, and he's very happy. He said he would inform the military, and, at the very least, they would send a surveillance ship to pick us up. What we need to do now is to keep sailing and shorten the distance between us and the other ships." Charlotte nodded. In a situation like this, the shorter the distance, the safer it would be. The yacht braved the wind and waves, and a small island gradually became clearer as it approached. It looked ordinary, but it played an unstable role in Asia's security situation. It would not kill people, but in the future, many people would definitely bleed for it, even dying on the battlefield for it. The journey was uneventful, but half an hour later, a Japanese reconnaissance plane suddenly appeared in the sky. With Charlotte's eyesight, he could even see the Japanese flag logo on the belly of the plane. Japan sent a reconnaissance plane. Charlotte's expression became serious. "It's probably here to confirm the situation." "What are you sure about?" "Make sure we don't have a problem," Charlotte said. "And we do have a problem." Long Bing's expression also became solemn. She knew what Charlotte was talking about. If a Japanese fishing boat appeared in this area, the other party would most likely not suspect anything, but a yacht from Okinawa headed straight for China. This was a problem. If the reconnaissance plane confirms that we have a problem, will it do this? Long Bing said. Charlotte smiled bitterly. If I'm not mistaken, the self-defense forces will probably send speedboats to chase after us. Get ready for battle. Damn, these Japanese are really difficult to deal with. Can't they just let us go home happily? The reconnaissance plane flew around the yacht twice in the sky, and then flew in the direction of Okinawa. Although it flew away, Long Bing and Charlotte did not feel relaxed at all. Long Bing took out her weapons and equipment, the XL 2500 sniper rifle and Gale assault rifle, as well as pistols and grenades. All of her weapons were loaded with bullets, and the safety was off, ready to be used in battle at any time. Charlotte took down the needle on the compass and put it away. The yacht continued to speed forward. 10 minutes passed in the blink of an eye, and no ships appeared to pick them up. However, the 4 Japanese armed speedboats appeared on the horizon, at least 3 times the speed of the yacht, chasing Charlotte and Long Bing's yacht. A civilian yacht could not be compared to an armed military speedboat. The speed of an armed speedboat could reach more than 100 kilometers per hour, and it was also equipped with heavy machine guns. Its defense was also very strong, and even machine gun bullets could not penetrate it. The situation suddenly became critical. One armed speedboat could carry 5 self-defense forces soldiers, and 4 speedboats could carry 20 fully armed self-defense forces soldiers. Coupled with the heavy machine guns on the armed speedboats and the weapons carried by the self-defense forces soldiers, if a battle broke out, the yacht that Charlotte and Long Bing were driving would be destroyed in less than a minute. And in a battle on the sea, even if Charlotte and Long Bing had a body full of skills, it would be useless. The two's weapons, the Gale assault rifle and the XL 2500 sniper rifle, could still make up for the disadvantage in numbers in the jungle, but in the sea, a heavy machine gun could suppress them to the point that they couldn't even lift up. There was no trace of the ships on the sea. The 4 armed speedboats quickly shortened the distance between them and the yacht. If I die, you have to remember me. Long Bing suddenly said such a sentence. Don't say such things, we'll be fine. Charlotte comforted her, but he also knew that the crisis in front of him was actually more serious than the ambush of the UA Special Forces and CIB agents in Afghanistan, because at that time he could still rely on his ability to fight, but now, if he only opened fire, it meant that he couldn't move and had to face the attack of 4 heavy machine guns. Long Bing suddenly hugged Charlotte and kissed his lips. This was a kiss full of sadness, with the meaning of farewell. This trip to Japan is the happiest time of my life. I really want to accompany you for the rest of my life, but Long Bing couldn't continue. Fool, believe me, we won't die. Charlotte hugged her and couldn't bear to separate from her. His and Shindatianin's feelings for each other were calm and light, like a thin stream flowing over a long period of time. He and Long Bing, on the other hand, had a life and death experience together, vigorous and vigorous. You go put on a diving suit, take the things and hide. You take the satellite phone, and then contact Boss Sure. Long Bing said in Charlotte's ear. Charlotte pushed her away. What do you want to do? Long Bing resolutely said, You don't die. You are too important to our country. I am different from you. I was born to be a soldier of this country. I am a soldier. Dying on a battlefield is my greatest glory. The battlefield is also my home. Don't try to persuade me. I have made my decision. I will lead them away. You must live. At this moment, Charlotte's eyes were moist. Quickly, get lost. Long Bing roared at Charlotte. Do you want to make my sacrifice worthless? Charlotte suddenly woke up. At this moment, he seemed to have made a decision. He suddenly pointed to the sea outside the cockpit. You see, our surveillance boat. Long Bing also looked over. Outside the cockpit, the sea was vast, let alone a surveillance boat. There was not even a small sampan. Long Bing suddenly realized something. At this time, Charlotte's palm heavily chopped her carotid artery. Her eyes suddenly went black, and she fell on the deck. Charlotte sighed. I'm sorry. You are willing to die for me. I am willing to do anything for you. I won't let you die. I want to take you home. This sentence, Long Bing couldn't hear. Charlotte switched the yacht to autopilot mode. then picked up Long Bing and entered the cabin. He put Long Bing on the bed, and then took out the bag containing the ancient alloy from under the bed. He opened the backpack and wore the string of ancient alloy around his neck. Then, he returned to the cockpit and hid the guns. Finally, he switched the yacht's autopilot mode back, manually driving the yacht in the direction of China. The four-armed speedboats were getting closer, but Charlotte's heart was calm. Bang, bang, bang. A series of machine gun fire suddenly cut through the tranquility of the sea. Dozens of machine gun bullets plunged into the sea, setting off a water column. A loud voice came through the loudspeaker. "Stop the yacht for inspection. Otherwise, destroy it." The person who shouted first spoke in Japanese, then repeated it in Chinese. Charlotte turned off the yacht and stopped. The four-armed speedboats surrounded the yacht in the blink of an eye. Of the four yachts, one blocked the front of the yacht, one blocked the back of the yacht, and the other two blocked the left and right sides of the yacht, not giving the yacht a chance to escape. Charlotte walked out of the cockpit and came to the bow deck. All the members of the four speedboats, except for the driver, had boarded the speedboats. These people were not all soldiers of the Japanese self-defense forces. There were also two people in casual clothes, a man and a woman. He had never seen these two people before. The man was in his early 40s, had a strong body, and a cold expression. The woman was very young, about 30 years old, quite beautiful, and had a good figure. The two also had one thing in common. That was, their eyes were very sharp, giving people a sense of danger and wit. Who are these two people? Charlotte couldn't help but guess. "Who are you?" the man with the strong body asked as soon as he boarded the yacht, in Chinese. Charlotte said in Japanese, "I'm sorry, I don't understand. I'm Japanese. Please speak to me in Japanese." The man with the strong body suddenly kicked Charlotte's lower abdomen. Charlotte's body shook and almost fell to the ground. There was a flash of anger in his eyes, and his arm moved a little. Clatter! More than a dozen self-defense forces soldiers raised their rifles at the same time, and all the muzzles were aimed at Charlotte. Charlotte's palm fell on his lower abdomen. He patted the dust on his clothes and calmly said, "Why did you hit me?" "Humph! Don't pretend. A spy from China." The man with the strong body sneered. "Am I a spy from China?" Charlotte pretended to be surprised. The woman, who looked pleasing to the eye, suddenly reached out and grabbed Charlotte's collar, and her eyes were aggressive. "Last night, you and your wife drove this yacht in the middle of a military exercise, and now you are driving the yacht in the direction of China. If you're not a spy from China, then what are you?" Charlotte smiled bitterly and didn't answer. The man with the strong body took out a mobile phone and handed it to Charlotte. On the screen of the mobile phone was a photo. In the photo, he and Long Bing were hugging and kissing each other. This photo was obviously taken by a nosy Marine soldier, but he didn't know how it fell into the hands of the man in front of him. Chapter 535. Where's the woman with you? The woman suddenly pushed Charlotte and said fiercely, "Speak." Charlotte restrained himself. "She's in Okinawa." "Bullshit," the sturdy man said angrily. "You're not Japanese at all. According to the speed of your yacht, if you send her back to Okinawa, you won't be able to get here. Speak, what's your mission?" Charlotte lowered his head and didn't speak. "Wait, what's that on your neck?" The woman suddenly pulled open Charlotte's collar, and the ancient alloy hanging on Charlotte's neck was suddenly revealed. "What's this?" The sturdy man showed a surprised expression. "Speak, you China pig." The woman waved her hand and slapped Charlotte's cheek. Charlotte suddenly raised his hand and grabbed the woman's wrist. Two soldiers of the self-defense forces suddenly made a move. One hit Charlotte's back with the handle of a rifle, and the other hit Charlotte's leg with the handle of a rifle. Charlotte groaned and knelt on the deck. The woman raised Charlotte's chin with her hand and sneered. "You actually managed to fool us last night. You're quite capable, but we're not that easy to fool. We're from the Secret Service. My name is Winter's Crescent Moon. You'll remember my name, because I'll make you suffer for the rest of your life." It turned out that she was an agent of the Secret Service. The sturdy man grabbed Charlotte's hair and said fiercely, "You'd better confess everything you've done now, or you'll suffer." Winter's Crescent Moon is an expert in torture, and no one has ever been able to survive 3 days in her hands. Tell me, is what happened in Okinawa Hakkai related to you? The woman continued to interrogate. The sturdy man scolded, "Don't deny it. We've already found out that you used the fake identity of Kata Takasuk to check in at a hot spring hotel at the entrance of Okinawa Hakkai. The woman with you is using the fake identity of Miko Mika. And last night, you, Katu Takasuk, actually appeared in the waters where my Japanese Navy and the U.S. Navy were conducting a joint exercise. Do you still dare to say that you're not China's spy?" Only then did Charlotte raise his head. A trace of a smile actually appeared at the corner of his mouth. "All right, I admit. You guys are really efficient. You found me so quickly and even caught me. Cut the crap." Winter Crescent Moon scolded. "What is your mission?" "Kill you all," Charlotte said. This sentence stunned all the Japanese on the ship, but only for a second or two, and then there was a burst of laughter. "All right, you rascal. It seems that you won't tell me if I don't teach you a lesson." Winter Crescent Moon waved her hand, and then a soldier of the self-defense forces walked to her side with a black password box, and then handed it to her. Winter Crescent Moon opened the box. It was filled with torture tools, scalpels, cutting knives, pliers, hammers, and several syringes filled with unknown liquids. Winter Crescent Moon's fingers slid over the neatly arranged tools like she was playing a piano, and then stopped at the scalpel. She pulled out the scalpel, and then asked Charlotte with a smile, "What part of you do you want me to cut off? Your ears? Your fingers? Your nose? Or that thing of yours?" Before Charlotte could speak, the sturdy man laughed. "Winter Crescent Moon, you're still so perverted." After a pause, he ordered the soldiers of the self-defense forces, "What are you still standing there for? You guys go search. Find that woman, and find anything suspicious on this ship." Several soldiers of the self-defense forces who received the order prepared to enter the cabin to search. "Wait!" Charlotte suddenly stopped them. "My woman is sleeping inside. I don't want to disturb her." "Ha ha!" This time, several soldiers of the self-defense forces who were preparing to enter the cabin to search laughed the loudest. Winter Crescent Moon was the only one who didn't laugh. Her voice was cold. "I have to admit that you speak Japanese very well, but your jokes are not funny at all. If you're stalling for time and waiting for the ship inside to rescue you, then you're making a big mistake. This is during the joint exercise of the American and Japanese navies, and the ship inside won't dare to come in." Charlotte said lightly, "I'm not waiting for our ship, I just don't want to disturb her inside. That's all. They want me to explain the details of my mission. Okay, I'll explain. The premise is that you don't disturb my woman's rest. In addition, give me a minute, I'll organize my thoughts, and then you can get the result you want." Don't disturb his woman's rest. This was a condition that made people feel unreasonable. Winter Crescent Moon and the sturdy man looked at each other, and then the sturdy man said, "1 minute. If you play tricks, you'll regret it." Winter Crescent Moon handed the scalpel to Charlotte, shook it under his eyelids, and said coldly, "1 minute. If you don't explain the details of your mission, I'll cut off your eyes, and then your thing. Don't worry, you won't die, because I'll let you have a taste of my skills, and I'll make you suffer." The two Secret Service agents had reached an agreement, and the soldiers of the self-defense forces who were ordered to search the yacht also temporarily stopped their actions and looked at Charlotte, who was kneeling on the deck, with playful eyes. All the Japanese on the ship seemed to see Charlotte's end, and it wouldn't be a good ending. Whether in history or modern times, as long as the spies and agents of China were caught, the ending was bleak. Mercy? It was missing in their dictionary. Under the watchful eyes of the public, Charlotte lowered his head again and looked at the string of ancient alloy in front of his chest. His eyes were very strange, and his expression was full of inexplicable fear, and he looked very painful. "What's that?" "I just asked you. Answer my question." Winter's Crescent Moon was confused. Charlotte didn't respond. "Bastard." Winter's Crescent Moon swung her hand and slapped Xia Lei's cheek. Charlotte still didn't respond. The sturdy man grabbed Winter Crescent Moon's hand and said, "Give him 1 minute, just 1 minute. Will China's army appear in front of us after that? He has fallen into our hands, and his fate is in our hands. It doesn't make a difference whether it's a minute earlier or a minute later. All right. Winter Crescent Moon looked at the watch on her wrist and waited for the 1 minute to pass. In fact, 1 minute had passed 10 seconds after Winter's Crescent Moon's voice fell. All right, don't waste time. Explain yourself. Winter Crescent Moon pushed Charlotte. Charlotte raised his head and said, I know you hate me, but I have my reasons for doing this. I promise you, I'll give you a satisfactory explanation. But as you can see, I'm in a very bad situation right now. This was an inexplicable sentence. The sturdy man and Winter Crescent Moon looked at each other at the same time, and the eyes of the two secret agents were filled with surprise and confusion. Even the group of soldiers who were monitoring Charlotte looked at Charlotte with strange gazes. They all seemed to have the same question in their hearts. Was this kid crazy? Of course, Charlotte wasn't crazy. He really was talking to someone, but that person was Princess Yongmei, and he was the only one in the world who could see her. After coming out of the ancient alloy, Princess Yongmei stared at the necklace on Charlotte's neck. She didn't hide her desire for the AE capsule at all. At the same time, she was full of anger towards Charlotte. This could be seen from the way she looked at Charlotte. If she could hurt Xiaolei, she would probably pounce on him right now and give him a good beating. Charlotte also looked straight at Princess Yongmei, ignoring all the Japanese around him. He said calmly, You said you've been waiting for me for a long time. I've calculated that it's been several hundred years since you were born. You were trapped in there for several hundred years, and I was the one who let you out. Do you still have a grudge against me? You were the one who let me out, but why did you lock me in there? I told you I don't want to go in. I don't want to. Princess Yongmei roared at Charlotte. Her body was made of energy, and her voice was also made of energy. Only Charlotte could interpret this kind of energy. Her voice only appeared in his mind in the form of brainwaves, and no one else could hear it. This was baffling to the Japanese on the ship. They could hear Charlotte's voice, but couldn't hear Princess Yongmei's voice. Bastard, are you pretending to be crazy? The sturdy man flew into a rage out of humiliation and kicked Charlotte in the chest. This kick was very fierce, and Charlotte lost his balance and was kicked to the deck. Almost at the same time, Princess Yongmei screamed, No! Why is she so worried about me? Although he was beaten, Charlotte didn't care at all. He was only thinking about things related to Princess Yongmei. He had already made the decision to have a good talk with Princess Yongmei, but he didn't expect it to be in such a place, under such circumstances. Forget it, this guy is hopeless. Winter's Crescent Moon said, You guys go and bring that woman out. I'm going to dismember her in front of this guy. Let's see how long he can keep his mouth shut. Charlotte suddenly said, Zhu Xianyue, I'm telling you, get rid of these people immediately. If you don't, I'll imprison you in that space forever. These people will kill me, and no one will be able to release you in the future. Princess Yongmei suddenly became nervous. You can't do this to me. You're my one and only. Get rid of them. Charlotte roared at Princess Yongmei. Asterisk slap. Asterisk Winter's Crescent Moon slapped Charlotte in the face. Are you crazy? Do you think I don't understand Chinese? Who is Zhu Xianyue? In that instant, Princess Yongmei suddenly made her move. Her white and soft hand silently pierced into Winter's Crescent Moon's head. In that instant, the originally ferocious Winter's Crescent Moon suddenly quieted down. She had no expression, no eyes, nothing. It was as if in a second, her soul had gone to another world, and in this world, there was only a shell left. What was even stranger was that, as if she had lost her soul, Winter's Crescent Moon's body still maintained a standing posture and didn't fall. No one noticed what strange thing had happened to Winter's Crescent Moon. Everyone's eyes were still focused on Charlotte. Chapter 536. What are you guys waiting for? The sturdy man roared at several self-defense forces soldiers. Go and capture that woman. I'm going to kill her in front of this guy. The self-defense forces soldiers who had received the order were still in place, as if they didn't hear his voice. In fact, they couldn't hear anything anymore, because before the sturdy man gave the order, Princess Yongmei had already done something terrible to them. Only Charlotte could see this process. Princess Yongmei was like a gust of evil wind blowing across the deck, and all the self-defense forces soldiers on the deck were ruthlessly attacked by her. Each and every one of them suddenly became sluggish, with no eyes, no expression, and no movement. Bastard! The sturdy man was furious. He walked over and kicked a self-defense force soldier who didn't carry out the order. The self-defense force's soldier was kicked to the ground. He was motionless as he stared blankly at the sky. "What's wrong with you?" The sturdy man was stunned. He suddenly realized something and looked around. As a result, he saw that everyone around him was in the same situation. It was as if they had suddenly lost their souls, leaving only empty shells. They couldn't hear anything and wouldn't react to any stimulation. Fear suddenly grew in the bottom of his heart. The sturdy man looked at Charlotte in horror, but forgot what to say. At the same time, Charlotte witnessed Princess Yongmei using the same method to kill the pilots of the four-armed speedboats. Now, there was only one Secret Service agent left. Princess Yongmei returned to the deck of the yacht, but she didn't do anything to the last target. What did you do to them?" The Secret Service agent finally turned around. Because of fear and nervousness, his voice was trembling. Charlotte got up from the deck and said indifferently, "I've been under your watch. What can I do?" "Then what's the matter with them?" The Secret Service agent roared at Charlotte. Charlotte smiled. "In the words of our world, they are doomed to destruction. I think it's God who wants to punish them. It has nothing to do with me." The male Secret Service agent suddenly pulled out his gun. Charlotte stepped forward and kicked the wrist of the male agent holding the gun. The pistol that had just been pulled out suddenly flew out of his hand and fell into the sea. The male Secret Service agent swung his fist at Charlotte's head. Charlotte raised his elbow to block. After blocking the fist, he cut inside and punched the male Secret Service agent's heart. With a muffled bang, his heart was shaken. The male agent staggered and fell to the ground. Charlotte's figure flickered, and his speed was extremely fast. When he stopped again, one of his feet had already stepped on the chest of the male agent. The male Secret Service agent struggled for a while, but the foot was like a truck tire pressing down on his body. He couldn't break free. Only then did he realize that this China spy, who had been pretending to be a fool in front of him, was actually a master who was even more skilled than him. Charlotte glanced at Princess Yongmei. "Why did you leave him behind?" Princess Yongmei said, "I left him with you. I wanted to see your skills." Charlotte smiled bitterly. "Then what did you conclude?" Princess Yongmei curled her lips. "Very ordinary. In my era, any random guard by my side could defeat you." Charlotte was speechless. However, he believed Princess Yongmei's words. Kung Fu was the quintessence of China, but due to various reasons, it had been passed down to the modern era. Princess Yongmei's era was the heyday of Kung Fu. At that time, even his best Wing Chun was not mainstream. How could he beat the guard of a Ming Dynasty princess? Princess Yongmei said again, "Now, kill him for me." "Kill him for you?" "Yes, kill him for me." Princess Yongmei's tone was dignified, the dignified Ming Dynasty princess. Charlotte didn't move, because he felt that he heard a command in Princess Yongmei's words. This made him feel a little uncomfortable. He was a modern person, and Princess Yongmei was a Ming Dynasty princess. How could he carry out the orders of a Ming Dynasty princess? Besides, he felt that Princess Yongmei had reversed the roles, because he was the only one in the world who could release her from that space. In other words, he was Princess Yongmei's master, not her servant. "Didn't you hear what I said?" Princess Yongmei was not angry, and the command in her tone was even more obvious. Charlotte smiled. "Are you ordering me?" "You." Princess Yongmei glared at Charlotte. At this time, the male Secret Service agent suddenly broke down and roared, Who are you talking to? Are you crazy?" Charlotte lifted his foot and let go of the Secret Service agent, then said, "Zhu Xianyue, kill him for me." "Umph. Are you ordering me?" Princess Yongmei said coldly, "I already killed a lot of people just now, and there's only one left. I told you to kill him, but you still want me to do it." Using such a commanding tone, "You have to understand that I am the Great Ming Dynasty's princess." "The Great Ming Dynasty has already been destroyed for hundreds of years," Charlotte said. What did you say? Princess Yongmei opened her mouth wide, unable to close it. I said that the great Ming dynasty has already been destroyed for hundreds of years. Charlotte didn't hold back. So, your princess identity is meaningless to me. What you have to understand is that you have to listen to my orders, not the other way around. Princess Yongmei froze on the spot, not saying anything, not moving at all. She was best at destroying people's souls and killing people without leaving a trace. But now, she seemed to have lost her soul. Seeing her in such a daze, Charlotte couldn't bear to do it, but he had to harden his heart and do it. The current Zhu Xianyue was very dangerous. Her emotions were irritable, and it was very easy for her to lose control. He had to subdue her, tame her, and make her listen to his orders. Otherwise, not only would Princess Yongmei not be his helper, but she would also become his nightmare. Who are you talking to? My people, my people. What happened to them? Tell me, tell me. The male Secret Service agent broke down again. In his eyes, Charlotte had been talking to a cloud of air and arguing with the cloud of air about who would kill him. How could he stand such a thing? Shut up, Charlotte said angrily. The male Secret Service agent suddenly rushed toward a soldier of the self-defense forces, wanting to grab a gun. Charlotte grabbed his neck and tripped him, instantly causing the male Secret Service agent to fall to the ground. You can't kill me, the male Secret Service agent roared from Charlotte. I am a soldier of the great Japanese Empire. If you kill me, it will be a declaration of war. Can you bear the consequences? Charlotte sneered. Do you think it's still World War II? If you say something like that, I have to apologize to you right away, right? Let me tell you, you will die, but I don't want to dirty my hands. My friend will do it for me. He glanced at Princess Yongmei. Zhu Xianyue, will you kill him for me? Zhu Xianyue hesitated for a moment, then slowly floated over. A smile finally appeared on Charlotte's lips. In fact, it was already a piece of cake for him to kill the male agent of the Secret Service. He could do it easily. There were two reasons why he insisted on Princess Yongmei killing the male Secret Service agent. The first reason was to tame Princess Yongmei and make her his helper, not trouble. The other reason was that if he killed the male Secret Service agent, there would definitely be traces left behind. These traces could cause international disputes or even military confrontation. But if Princess Yongmei did it, these troubles wouldn't exist. Princess Yongmei reached out her hand to the male Secret Service agent, but stopped at his forehead. She looked at Charlotte with cold eyes, only this time. Charlotte didn't say anything, only looking at Princess Yongmei. Kill me. Kill me. You don't dare, do you? China. Before the words could come out, the male Secret Service agent's voice disappeared in his throat. His eyes instantly became empty, and there was nothing left, including his breathing. This was the closest Charlotte had seen Princess Yongmei kill someone. But even if the murder happened right under his nose, he couldn't see any clues. He only saw Princess Yongmei reach her hand into the male Secret Service agent's head, and then the male Secret Service agent died. The whole process from beginning to end took less than a second. Without a doubt, the current Princess Yongmei was close to perfection and terrifyingly powerful. Princess Yongmei took 2 steps back. Okay, are you satisfied now? Thank you. Charlotte thanked her, then took off his jacket and used it to wipe away the footprints on the male Secret Service agent's body. This time, he really didn't leave any traces. These corpses would eventually be discovered, but no one would be able to find out anything. Everything that happened here would definitely become an unsolved mystery for the Japanese military. Princess Yongmei's gaze fell on the necklace around Charlotte's neck again. She was still full of desire for the AE capsule. Charlotte pretended not to see it and said calmly, I have to put the corpses back on their boat, then leave here. Let's have a good talk on the way. I've always wanted to talk to you, but your emotions are very unstable. No problem. I'll wait for you. Princess Yongmei was very calm this time. Charlotte quickly moved. He moved all the corpses of the Self-Defense Forces soldiers back to their armed speedboat, then started the yacht and continued to head in the direction of China. The ship that Sherborne had promised still hadn't appeared, but Charlotte didn't need it anymore. Before starting the conversation with Princess Yongmei, he called Sherborin and told the ship not to come over. This was also a precautionary measure, so that the Japanese wouldn't be able to find anything that could be used against them. During the call with Sherborin asked for the reason, but Charlotte only said that they had shaken off the pursuit and didn't say anything else. He believed that the Japanese military wouldn't report the discovery of the corpses. Even if there was an investigation, it would only be done in secret. This way, he would save a lot of trouble. After ending the call with Sherborin, Charlotte asked the first question, "Tell me, what are you?" Chapter 537. In fact, Charlotte had already asked all the questions he wanted to ask, and the person he asked was Princess Yongmei. But the Princess Yongmei in front of him was different from the previous Princess Yongmei. The Princess Yongmei in front of him was the most perfect Princess Yongmei he had ever seen. "What do I look like?" Princess Yongmei stretched out her arms and turned in a circle in front of Charlotte. Her appearance could captivate even birds and beasts. Her body was curvaceous and sexy. Without clothes, everything about her could be seen. Coupled with the extremely realistic visual effect, she could easily seduce the desire of men and make them willing to do anything for her. "Stop messing around. Please answer my questions seriously," Charlotte said. He had the goal of taming Princess Yongmei, but he knew that this road would not be smooth and there would be many difficulties. After all, the person he wanted to tame was once the beloved princess of the great Ming dynasty. "Okay, I will answer your questions seriously." A faint smile appeared on Princess Yongmei's face as she said, "A woman, a naked woman." Charlotte was speechless. This Princess Yongmei in front of him was not only arrogant and unreasonable, but also very mischievous. "Are you satisfied with my answer?" Charlotte said, "You don't even have a body. What kind of woman are you?" "Do I have to have a body to be considered a woman? Sooner or later, the body will grow old and die, but the soul can live forever. You represent the former, and I represent the latter." Charlotte's mind seemed to have been opened, and he could not help but think in this direction. According to religion, after a person dies, some souls will go to heaven, and some souls will go to hell. The people living in this world cannot see them. Many scientists have studied some phenomena after a person dies, but no one can prove that after a person dies, there will be a soul left behind. The theory of souls was also considered nonsense by the people now. However, there was a living example in front of him. She came from the Ming dynasty. Princess Yongmei had already given the answer in this way. She was a soul. "You said you are a soul, but why are you the only one?" "I don't know." "You don't know? How is that possible?" "I'm also looking for the answer. If you are a soul, then you can't be the only soul in this world. If I can see you, then I can see other souls. But the truth is, I haven't seen a soul other than you. What's going on?" Princess Yongmei shook her head. "I don't know. Also, I found your body in Afghanistan, and I also found your body in a shipwreck at the bottom of the sea in Ryukyu. What's going on?" Princess Yongmei suddenly moved in front of Charlotte, her face almost touching his. Her eyes were filled with surprise. "What did you say? I have two bodies? How is this possible?" Charlotte was stunned on the spot. From Princess Yongmei's reaction, it was clear that she did not know that she had two bodies. Moreover, she didn't seem to want her body to be called a corpse. "Do you have a twin sister?" Charlotte asked. "No, absolutely not," Princess Yongmei said. Then she stared at Charlotte. "Tell me, is this true? I have two bodies?" Charlotte said, "It's true. I saw it with my own eyes. It's exactly the same. Also, don't get too close to me. You don't know how cold you are." In this close contact, Charlotte felt as if he was about to be frozen. It was a kind of coldness that came from the bones. It was hard to describe. This phenomenon was not obvious in the open space, but it became obvious in the closed cockpit. "I must find out what's going on." Princess Yongmei took a few steps back and said, "I know you want to find out what the metal is and the truth of this matter, but I want to tell you that I don't know. In fact, I was ordered by my imperial father to search for those metals with the compass." "Your father didn't tell you why he was looking for the metal?" "He once mentioned it to me. It's for immortality. Immortality? Charlotte's heart violently beat. Immortality. Princess Yongmei suddenly smiled. I went to Afghanistan and conquered the Xiongnu tribe, but I only found a piece of metal. The compass led me to the west, and I went to Jerusalem, but I couldn't dig anything there. That place is a Christian holy place, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Unless I occupied the holy city, but I didn't have that kind of strength. My Ming army couldn't cross the Himalayas to attack Jerusalem. I returned to Afghanistan and built the White Horse Tomorrow City. I was going to use this city as a base to recuperate, recruit soldiers, and accumulate military strength. But then I got sick. I don't know what disease it was. The imperial doctor I brought couldn't cure me then. Princess Yongmei didn't continue. Then what happened? Charlotte anxiously asked. Princess Yongmei smiled bitterly. Then I don't know anything until I saw you. This was Princess Yongmei's treasure hunting experience? Charlotte was also lost in thought. Princess Yongmei's memory seemed to be missing many important parts, but he believed what she said was true. Princess Yongmei had been to Jerusalem, which explained why her jade coffin contained the sacred heart necklace of the last queen of the Kingdom of Jerusalem, Sibylla. Also, Princess Yongmei didn't know what disease she had, but he did. There were only two endings for people who came into contact with the ancient alloy. One was to go crazy, and the other was to die. Peaceful was still living in a hospital under strict supervision. She was a living example. Charlotte's brain quickly organized the clues Princess Yongmei provided. Princess Yongmei's treasure hunting route was Afghanistan, then Jerusalem. Princess Yongmei was ordered by Emperor Yongle to find the treasure in order to obtain immortality. Princess Yongmei went crazy because she came into contact with the ancient alloy. She didn't know what happened after she went crazy. This was what he learned from talking with Princess Yongmei. It was much better than knowing nothing before. But now, Charlotte's brain had a huge hole. From Princess Yongmei's memory, he was sure that she had only been to Afghanistan and Jerusalem. She hadn't been to Ryukyu, which was a vassal state of the Ming dynasty. Then, what was Princess Yongmei in the shipwreck? I can tell you one thing. Your disease is madness. People who come into contact with that metal will either go crazy or die. You might be the former or the latter. But I don't understand. You don't remember what happened after you went crazy, but why can you remember what happened when you saw me? Charlotte asked a new question. Princess Yongmei was silent for a moment, then said, I can see it. It's in that strange space. Sometimes what I did will appear in front of me. I can see me walking, eating, talking to people, writing to Father. But I have never seen how I became like this. This was a euphemism. What she wanted to say was that she didn't know how she died. I'll ask you one last time. Are you sure you haven't been to Ryukyu? I'm sure. White Horse Tomorrow City is thousands of miles away from Ryukyu. I have the Emperor's orders. How could I go against my father's orders to go to Ryukyu? Princess Yongmei said. It seemed that the female corpse in the shipwreck had really become an unsolvable mystery. Xiao Lei felt very strange, but he was already burdened with too many strange things, so he didn't find it strange at all. Compared to the secret of the female corpse in the shipwreck paled in comparison. I have one last question. I know you want to get close to the necklace on my neck. I've talked to you before. You also know that there's a pill in the pendant. My question is, why do you want it? It makes me feel warm. When I get close to it, I feel like I'm alive and have a body of flesh and blood. Also, it seems to make me stronger. Princess Yongmei looked at Charlotte with pleading eyes. Can you let me get close to it? I swear I won't damage it. I don't have a body and I can't eat it, so you don't have to worry about losing it. Charlotte hesitated. Just this once. If I tell you to come out, come out. Princess Yongmei said excitedly. Okay, I promise you. Charlotte took off the alloy necklace and handed it to Princess Yongmei. He didn't want Princess Yongmei to come for his neck. That feeling was very uncomfortable. Princess Yongmei's body suddenly collapsed. In the blink of an eye, she was compressed into a stream of light and was instantly thrown into the alloy pendant. Charlotte felt the alloy pendant in his hand suddenly become cold, like a block of ice. However, the cold feeling quickly disappeared and the alloy pendant returned to its normal temperature. What was Princess Young Mei doing in there? This thought suddenly emerged in his mind. Xia Lei's left eye twitched, and the pendant's alloy shell immediately disappeared from his left eye's sight. He saw the AE capsule hidden in the pendant, and then the powder in the AE capsule. There was only the powder, no Princess Young Mei or light. After a minute, Charlotte said, "Okay, come out." Princess Young Mei didn't come out. The AE capsule was still the same, no more or less. However, Princess Young Mei, who had gone in, disappeared. "Hey, didn't you hear me? Come out, or I'll lock you in that space," Charlotte threatened. Princess Young Mei still didn't come out. Charlotte moved his eyes to the ancient alloy and tried to see through it. A feeling of terror swept through his body and then disappeared. In the past, every time he did this, he would either release Princess Young Mei or lock her in. But this time was an exception. He experienced the pain of opening the door. The door opened, but Princess Young Mei didn't go in. Charlotte was stunned in the cockpit. He didn't know what to do. Princess Young Mei disappeared just like that. The yacht continued to sail toward the waters of China, braving the wind and waves. Charlotte's heart flew with the sea breeze to a place he didn't even know. He didn't know what to do next. Chapter 538. The afterglow of the setting sun shone on the sea, and every wave seemed to be plated with a layer of golden powder, shining brightly. A shark covetously emerged from the sea and chased after the yacht for a distance before letting go and leaving. After entering China's waters, Charlotte no longer worried about encountering any danger. In his own waters, the Japanese ships would certainly not dare to break into them. However, he could not relax. During this time, he had used his X-ray vision and the AE capsule more than once, but Princess Young Mei did not appear. What happened? This question had been bothering him, and he could not find the answer no matter how much he thought about it. A series of footsteps suddenly came from the cabin, and then Long Bing rushed to the deck. After finding that there was no one on the bow deck, she seemed to wake up and turned to look at the cockpit. When she saw Charlotte, she suddenly froze, and it took her a long time to recover. Then she rushed into the cockpit and hugged Charlotte. Charlotte gently patted Long Bing's back, and his voice was very gentle. It's okay. Don't be nervous." Long Bing suddenly let go of Charlotte and stared at him. "What happened? Where are those Japanese soldiers?" Charlotte said, "I don't know why, but they didn't continue to chase and turn back." The truth was that those Japanese soldiers and Secret Service agents were all dead, but Charlotte could not tell Long Bing that the soul of a Ming Dynasty princess killed them. If someone else told him this, he would not believe it. Long Bing seemed to remember something, and then punched Charlotte. "You knocked me out." Charlotte smiled bitterly. "I didn't want you to die, so I knocked you out and prepared to fight them alone. But I didn't expect that the Japanese soldiers would retreat when I made a move." "That's it." Long Bing looked at Charlotte suspiciously. Charlotte shrugged. "If that's not the case, then I killed those Japanese soldiers. Would you believe me if I said so?" "I believe you. No matter what you say, I believe you." Long Bing suddenly hugged Charlotte and kissed his lips. Charlotte knocked her out to protect her. He was willing to face the group of vicious Japanese soldiers alone, as well as the four-armed speedboats. She was willing to die for him, and he was also willing to go through fire and water for her. Such a feeling, as a woman, how could she not be satisfied and happy? As for whether Charlotte's explanation was reasonable or not, she did not care at all. This kiss was like a spark appearing on a dry grassland, instantly igniting a prairie fire. Their clothes fell to the ground one by one, and the items in the driver's compartment were knocked over. Some even fell to the ground. But no one cared about this anymore. The two young souls had merged together, as well as each other's bodies. This was the most wonderful thing in the world. The passion faded, but the two were still hugging each other, unwilling to separate. The sofa in the cockpit gently accepted the two. Even if it almost fell apart, there was no complaint. "By the way, I've called Bosher and asked him to arrange a ship to pick us up. We've already entered our own sea, so why hasn't the ship appeared yet?" Long Bing's delicate head pressed against Xia Lei's chest, and her voice was also very soft. Charlotte said, "After the Japanese soldiers retreated, I called President Sure and told him not to send a ship. After all, there's a dispute in that sea area, and I don't want to cause trouble because of me." "Well, your decision is right. By the way, what's your plan after going back?" "I want to go to my hometown first and then go back to Kyoto." "What about you?" "Of course, I'm with you. If you don't return to Kyoto to finish the mission, you and I are still in the process of carrying out the mission. Wherever you go, I'll go," Long Bing said, while observing the change in Charlotte's expression from the corner of her eye. Charlotte's expression really changed. His originally relaxed expression became a little more worried after listening to Long Bing's words. He didn't speak anymore, as if he was hiding something in his heart. Long Bing tentatively said, "Why? You don't like me to go to your hometown with you?" Charlotte came back to his senses and hurriedly said, "No, no, no. I don't have such a thought. Absolutely not. You're welcome to my hometown. Only a ghost would believe you." Long Bing glared at Charlotte. "Are you afraid that I'll go with you and hinder you from being together with Jiang Rui?" Charlotte's forehead suddenly became covered with fine beads of sweat. He only had this little secret in his heart, but Long Bing saw through it at a glance. Section Chief Long, 101 stories. She was never a woman who could be easily deceived. "Tell me the truth. Did you have a relationship with her?" Long Bing climbed on Charlotte's body, pressing on him and looking down at him. Charlotte wanted to slap himself. Why did he mention going back to Haiju's hometown? Wouldn't it be fine if he just flew back to Kyoto? Now, Long Bing was using this matter to interrogate him. Moreover, she was using such a powerful weapon to interrogate him. How should he answer? "She and I are actually, I want to hear the truth." Charlotte bit the bullet and nodded. "I don't want to. I'm not the kind of man who is full of tricks. After I got the certificate with Tianyin, she found me. If I didn't stay with her, she would jump off a building. What do you think I should do? She has liked me since she was a child and waited for me for more than 20 years. I owe her a favor. I can't bear to hurt her, so..." "Which building did she want to jump off?" "It's in my building." Long Bing suddenly burst out in laughter. "I always thought that she was an honest woman, but it turns out that she's actually very clever. Your house is on the second floor. She wouldn't die if she jumped off. Even the second floor is dangerous. If she broke her leg, how would I explain it to her parents? When I was a child, her parents took care of me. In short, I did it. I can't correct it even if I want to." Xiao Lei revealed the secret in his heart. He felt as if he had thrown away a stone. He immediately felt relaxed. Long Bing quietly looked at Charlotte. She didn't say anything. Her eyes made Charlotte feel guilty. He tentatively said, "Are you unhappy?" Long Bing suddenly lowered her head and kissed Charlotte's lips. Charlotte heaved a sigh of relief. If Long Bing wasn't happy, why would she kiss him? Long Bing revealed a smile. "You're Shintu Tianin's husband. It's not my place to be unhappy. There's no need for me to be unhappy. I'm happy that you can tell me such a thing. Because you didn't dare to tell Shintu Tianin, but you told me." What kind of logic was this? Charlotte couldn't be bothered to understand her logic. He didn't dare to admit that Long Bing was telling the truth. He dared to tell Long Bing about this, but he definitely didn't dare to tell Shintu Tianin. She was Shintu Tianin after all, the queen of the Wanxiang Corporation. She definitely wouldn't share her man with any other woman. But Long Bing was different. He was free and happy when he was with her. Jiang Rui isn't bad. Actually, when I was with Haiju, I could tell that she likes you. No matter what she does, she wants to attract your attention. I always thought that you would be with her, but I didn't expect fate to play tricks on you. In the end, you ended up with Shintu Tianin." Long Bing's body twisted gently. Her smooth and delicate skin was like the most delicious cream cake in the world. Fate is really a strange thing. I don't know what my fate is. This mission made me feel a lot, and I understood a lot of things. Life is short. Why should I live so cautiously? There are some people I can't bear to part with, and there are some feelings I can't let down. Let nature take its course. After all, it's only a few decades. It'll pass in the blink of an eye. One day, when I'm old and in my coffin, who's going to settle the old scores with me, right? This mission really made Xiao Lei feel this way. I can summarize what you said in 4 words. Enjoy yourself, right? Yes, yes, that's what I mean. Then what are you waiting for? You? Charlotte suddenly reacted, but his reaction came too late. Just as he was about to lie and say that his waist was sprained, Long Bing had already swallowed him with a gentle trap. Are you still taking me back to your hometown? Yes, I'll take you back, okay? You're not allowed to mention what happened between you and me to Jiang Rui, okay? Yes, yes. Charlotte's mind had already entered a conditioned state. He would agree to whatever Long Bing said. Just now, he wanted to lie and avoid it, but now he was worried that she would stop. The sofa made a sound. It didn't sound like a protest, but more like background music. It was rare to be confused, so he should enjoy himself. The next morning, Charlotte and Long Bing appeared on the street of Haizhu. The two had returned to their original appearance. Charlotte specially bought a lot of gifts and then called a taxi to take Long Bing back to his hometown. On the way, Charlotte called Jiang Rui. Rui, I'm back. Jiang Rui's voice came from the phone. She was very excited. You've been gone for such a long time. I missed you so much. If you didn't come back, I would have gone to the capital to find you. Charlotte glanced at Long Bing from the corner of his eye and said cautiously, I was busy with work, so I came back to see you as soon as I had time. Then you didn't miss me? Yes, I did. Then give me a kiss. Charlotte was stunned. If Long Bing wasn't by his side, a kiss would be fine. But with Long Bing by his side, would it make her unhappy? Just as Charlotte was in a daze, Long Bing suddenly leaned over and kissed him on the cheek. This exaggerated sound reached Jiang Rui's ears, and she giggled. Good girl. I'll take a leave and come back immediately. Wait for me. Don't go to the company. Okay. Charlotte hung up. Long Bing laughed. I'm not trying to criticize you, but you need to train your skin a little thicker. Charlotte was speechless. Back in neighborhood, Charlotte brought Long Bing home and settled her down. Then he went out with a bag of gifts, ready to go to Jiang Rui's house. Long Bing sent Charlotte out, leaned against the door frame, and teased him. I really want to know how you feel now. Charlotte smiled bitterly. What do you mean? What do you want to say? Long Bing said slowly. Cheating? You're cheating behind your wife and girlfriend's back. How do you feel? Charlotte's feeling was a mess, and he couldn't say it. Lay. Jiang Rui's voice suddenly came from downstairs. Charlotte couldn't help shivering. Long Bing waved her hand. Go ahead. Have fun. It's not easy for others. It's rare for you to come back, so I'll stay with you in Haizhu for 2 more days. I'll block CEO Sure for you. What a good woman. Charlotte was moved to tears. Chapter 539. As soon as Charlotte went downstairs, a woman in a policewoman uniform rushed out of Jiang Rui's house and plunged into his arms. That fullness, that softness, and that familiar, elegant fragrance captured Charlotte's heart in an instant. He was assimilated and softened. I missed you so much, my little Lele. Jiang Rui used her body to squeeze Charlotte, but that was not enough. As soon as her voice fell, her cherry lips suddenly came up and gave Charlotte a sweet kiss. And Jiang Rui's mother, Yang Yun, appeared at the door and coughed twice. Jiang Rui seemed to not hear her mother's coughing. Her mouth was still biting Charlotte's lips, unwilling to let go. Charlotte was embarrassed. Auntie Mom, how are you? He wanted to properly greet them, but when he opened his mouth, Jiang Rui's tongue would drill into his mouth, and he could not speak clearly. N. Yang Yun's voice became louder. Jiang Rui then reacted and reluctantly let go of Charlotte. She turned around and rolled her eyes at Yang Yun. Mom, didn't you say you wanted to go to the supermarket? Why haven't you left yet? Yang Yun was very angry. If Charlotte was not here, she could not help but slap Jiang Rui. She had a man and forgot her mother. She had raised her daughter for nothing. Charlotte hurriedly handed the big and small gifts to Yang Yun. His face was full of smiles. Auntie, these are gifts for you and Uncle. Please accept them. Io, Lei Zi is here. Please come in. Please come in. Look at you. If you want to come, you don't have to buy gifts. Yang Yun's face was full of smiles as she warmly welcomed Charlotte into the house. Jiang Shuqing was also at home. When Charlotte entered the door, he greeted him and gave Charlotte a bear hug. Then he laughed and said, It's good that you're back. You don't work so hard. What's the point of earning so much money? Your health is the most important thing. Charlotte nodded. Yes, uncle is right. I will be careful. Jiang Shuqing let go of Charlotte and smilingly said, Leicester, you don't know, but there's someone nagging in front of us all day long, asking why you haven't come back yet. I think she's going crazy. Dad, if you say one more word, I'll ignore you. I'll keep my word. I won't talk to you for 3 days. Jiang Rui rolled her eyes at Jiang Shuqing. Jiang Shuqing raised his hands in surrender. Okay, I won't say any more, okay? Charlotte asked. Uncle, how are you feeling? Jiang Shuqing said, I'm fine. The doctor said I'm recovering well. It's all thanks to you. Uncle, what are you talking about? We're a family. It's not a big deal. Charlotte said. After chatting for a while, Jiang Rui winked at Yang Yin. How could Yang Yin not understand her daughter's mind? She said, Shuqing, didn't we agree to go to the supermarket? Let's go now. We'll go to the supermarket to buy some vegetables. I'll cook a delicious meal tonight. You and Leicester can drink a few more cups. Okay. We'll go now. Jiang Shuqing's response was also on point. The couple watched Charlotte grow up, and they liked Charlotte very much. Last time, if it weren't for Charlotte's generosity, Jiang Shuqing might have lost his life. Because of his kindness and their love for Xia Lei, even though the couple knew that their daughter, Jiang Rui, had become Xia Lei's lover, they turned a blind eye to it, which could be considered as tacit agreement. The couple was very open-minded. As long as Rui was happy, they didn't care about the title. As soon as Jiang Shuqing and his wife left, Jiang Rui stuck to Charlotte's body and gave him a hot kiss. Charlotte enjoyed it calmly. He also knew what she wanted. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. He didn't lack women to accompany him, but Jiang Rui only had him. It was not easy for them to meet each other. How could they miss this kind of intimate thing? Did the one in our family notice anything? After the sweet kiss, Jiang Rui asked, The one in our family? Her? Should have Tianyin. Stupid. Charlotte was amused by the way she addressed him. He hugged her. Why? Do you want to be discovered by her? I'm not stupid. Why would I want to be discovered by her? She's so strong. I can't beat her. Charlotte said, Don't worry. She doesn't know. What if she knows? What should I do? If she knows... Charlotte wanted to say something, but he didn't say anything. He didn't know what to do at that time. With Shinta Tianyin's character, she definitely wouldn't want to share her husband with Jiang Rui. She would either take revenge on Jiang Rui or divorce him. But no matter what the result was, he was not willing to face it. Moreover, no matter what the result was, his relationship with Shinta Tianyin would probably come to an end. Jiang Rui looked at Charlotte eagerly. Tell me. Charlotte smiled bitterly. I don't know. Let nature take its course. That's right. You don't know what to do about such a thing. Let nature take its course. Jiang Rui pursed her lips and smiled. I'm happy as long as I'm with you. Shinta Tianyin has already got you. If she's still not satisfied, then she's a fool. If she doesn't want you, I will. If Shinta Tianyin didn't want Charlotte, there would be a long list of women waiting for Charlotte. It wasn't just Jiang Rui. That was the truth. Come with me. I'll show you something. Jiang Rui couldn't be bothered to think about what to do if Shinta Tianyin found out. She took Charlotte's hand and walked into her room. What do you want me to see? Don't ask. I want to give you a surprise. Jiang Rui looked back. Her eyes were full of gentleness and charm. An inexplicable thought popped up in Xia Lei's mind. Could it be that she has prepared some new tricks? After entering the room, Charlotte was stunned. He had entered Jiang Rui's room more than 3 times. It was a place that he couldn't be more familiar with. But today, it had changed beyond recognition. All the furniture in the room had been changed. The single bed had been replaced with a double bed. The bed was covered with a red quilt and bedsheets. There were dragon and phoenix patterns on the quilt. There were also several oil paintings of fat babies on the wall. Each of the fat babies had tender skin and innocent smiles. They were extremely cute. There were also many children's toys in the room, such as transformers, forklifts, Barbie dolls, and so on. It gave him the feeling that he had entered the bedroom of a newlywed couple. Moreover, the newlywed couple already had a child. These child-related elements made Charlotte think of something. He suddenly grabbed Jiang Rui's fragrant shoulder and said excitedly, "Rui, you're pregnant?" Jiang Rui's face turned slightly red. Then she nodded gently. "Yes." Ha ha ha. Charlotte was so excited that he danced. "I'm going to be a father. I'm going to be a father." There was a reason why he was more anxious than anyone else to have a child. He took the AE capsule and his body started to evolve. First, it was his left eye, then his brain. This seemed to be only the initial stage. His body had been evolving subtly. He didn't know what the final result would be. He was worried that once this evolution extended to the place where he had to carry on his family line, he might not have the ability to have children. Therefore, before that, he wanted to have children of his own, at least a son and a daughter. This could also be regarded as continuing the Xia family's lineage and fulfilling his responsibility as a man of the Xia family. Another reason was that he had worked hard to build the Rema Group. Such a large family business, there had to be someone to inherit it, right? He was facing the double threat of the CIA and the FA organization. Maybe he would be killed one day. At that time, if he didn't even have an heir, wouldn't all his efforts be in vain? The concept of carrying on the family line and passing on the family line was deeply rooted in the blood of every Chinese. Charlotte was actually a very traditional Chinese, and he was no exception. Jiang Rui suddenly waved her hand and slapped Charlotte's butt. "Keep your voice down. You're so loud. The neighbors will hear you and gossip will be inevitable. I'm not married yet, but I'm pregnant. I can't stand that kind of gossip." "Well, I'll listen to you. Let me see my son." Charlotte couldn't wait to untie Jiang Rui's uniform jacket and then unbutton her shirt, revealing her lower abdomen. Jiang Rui's lower abdomen was as white as jade, and the skin was delicate and delicate, like a cake with cream, making people want to kiss it. The small and round belly button was also very cute, as if it was a talking elf. As long as one reached out and touched it, it would smile. However, her lower abdomen was still flat, and there were no signs of pregnancy. Charlotte's left eye twitched slightly, and his left eye's vision quickly moved to the place where the child was conceived. He saw a lot of scenes. It was like the bottom of the sea, full of liquid and fluffy tissues, looking like an undersea forest. Apart from these, he saw nothing else. Charlotte retracted his X-ray vision, squatted down, and put his ear on Jiang Rui's lower abdomen. Jiang Rui's lower abdomen was warm and delicate, making his ear very comfortable. I heard a growling sound. "Is our child moving?" Although he knew that it was the sound of Jiang Rui's stomach moving, Charlotte didn't spoil Jiang Rui's mood and said nice words to make her happy. Jiang Rui poked Charlotte's finger and said coquettishly, "Fool, I only stopped it for a week. The little guy is probably still a cell. How can he hear anything?" A cell? No wonder he couldn't see it with his X-ray vision. Charlotte kissed her little belly, and his heart was full of happiness and excitement. "Rui, don't go to work. The police work is very dangerous for the safety of our child. You might as well resign and stay at home to take care of the baby." "I don't want to. I like my job. Besides, I'm the director. I don't have to solve the case myself. There's no danger," Jiang Rui said. But Jiang Rui covered Charlotte's mouth and looked at Charlotte with hot eyes. "I miss you." Her eyes made Charlotte realize something, and he suddenly became nervous. "No, you already have a child. We can't do that kind of thing anymore. It will hurt the child. Can't you just be gentle?" No. Jiang Rui stared at Charlotte. "Are you going to bed or not? If you don't love me, I will tell my son that you are a bad guy and let him ignore you." Charlotte, now that Jiang Rui had a trump card, how dare he not obey? Gently, all the tenderness was contained in the silence. The fat baby stared at him with big eyes, smiling, and the room was full of joy and happiness. Chapter 540. The movement of love began and ended in gentleness. When Jiang Shuqing and Yang Yin returned home, Charlotte and Jiang Rui were already sitting in the living room, watching TV. The two of them were serious, as if nothing had happened. Yang Yin began to cook lunch. Jiang Rui went to the kitchen to help, and Charlotte and Jiang Shuqing drank tea and chatted. Before lunch, Charlotte suddenly thought of Long Bing. He was eating at Jiang Rui's house, but Long Bing was alone in his house. What should she do? Charlotte thought. It's not a good idea to leave her alone at home. It's better to ask her to come over and have lunch together. She and Jiang Rui are acquaintances. She shouldn't suspect anything, right? Thinking of this, Charlotte pulled Jiang Rui aside and told her about Long Bing at his house. Why didn't you say so earlier? I'll ask her to come over and have lunch together. Jiang Rui didn't think much about it and went upstairs to ask Long Bing to come down for lunch. Jiang Rui was more than just familiar with Long Bing. It was all because of Long Bing that she was able to become the bureau chief. Therefore, Jiang Rui had always owed Long Bing a big favor in her heart. Jiang Rui knocked on the door of Charlotte's house. When she saw Jiang Rui standing at the door, Long Bing was stunned for a moment and then said, "Oh, Bureau Chief Jiang, hello." She was muttering in her heart, "What is Jiang Rui doing here? Did she guess my relationship with Charlotte?" With a guilty conscience, even though she was facing Jiang Rui, who was on the same level as her, and not the main wife, Shinatianin, Long Bing could not help but let her imagination run wild and feel nervous. Jiang Rui didn't think so much. She smiled. "Ms. Long, why didn't you come over to say hello? My house is downstairs. Let me treat you to a meal." Don't bother, I'll just make something to eat." Long Bing felt embarrassed thinking about that scene. Charlotte, Jiang Rui, and her, 3 people eating together. How could that be? Jiang Rui held Long Bing's hand. "Let's go. You and Lei are so close. What's there to be embarrassed about?" At this point, she suddenly realized something and changed her words. I'm wrong. It's not our Lazy. It's Lazy and I are good friends. You and Lazy are also good friends. We're all good friends." Long Bing looked speechlessly at Jiang Rui and thought to herself, "This idiot should never meet Shindatianin again. With your standard, you dare to steal Shindatianin's man? You will be discovered the moment you meet him." It was hard for Jiang Rui to refuse her kindness, and Long Bing couldn't refuse, so she followed Jiang Rui to her house. As soon as they entered the door, Charlotte couldn't help but look at Long Bing. Both of them had a guilty conscience. They didn't even dare to look at each other for too long. They looked at each other and then looked away. Jiang Rui introduced Long Bing to Jiang Shuqing and Yang Yun. Hearing that it was Long Bing, Jiang Shuqing and Yang Yun also became enthusiastic. Jiang Shuqing and Yang Yun had long heard of this mysterious woman because their family's Rui was able to become the bureau chief because of this woman's help. This was a great kindness. How could they not treat Long Bing well when she came to their house? The 5 of them sat around a table and ate. Jiang Rui picked food for Charlotte. Yang Yun picked food for Long Bing, and Charlotte poured wine for Jiang Shuqing. The atmosphere was harmonious. "I want to eat sweet and sour spare ribs," Jiang Rui, who was sitting on the left side of Charlotte, said in a low voice. Charlotte picked a piece of sweet and sour spare ribs for Jiang Rui, and Jiang Rui smiled. Long Bing looked at Charlotte. Charlotte stared blankly for a moment, then picked a piece of spare ribs for Long Bing, and pretended to say, "Chief Long, Andy's cooking is not bad. You should also have a taste." Long Bing wanted to laugh in her heart, but there was no expression on her face, and she just nodded lightly. Xia Lei was crying bitterly in his heart. "How am I supposed to eat this meal? This is just Jiang Rui and Long Bing. If one day Shinatianin, Long Bing, Jiang Rui, and I eat together when I die?" Love is a double-edged sword, but the sword in Charlotte's hand was double-edged, even the hilt was double-edged. "Lazy, after eating, accompany me to the shopping mall." Jiang Rui said. "Yes, what do you want to buy?" Charlotte asked casually. "Maternity clothes." Jiang Rui blurted out. Clatter. The chopsticks in Charlotte's hand fell on the table. Long Bing was chewing the sweet and sour spare ribs that Charlotte had picked for her, but at this moment, her whole body froze. Half of the spare ribs was in her mouth, and the other half was outside her mouth, which was very funny. Jiang Shuqing and Yang Yun were also stunned, and their eyes were staring at Jiang Rui. If they could teleport, they would definitely move Long Bing to the other side of the earth without hesitation. Not for anything else, but because how could they let Long Bing know about this? Jiang Rui realized that she had said something wrong, and she suddenly panicked, and her face turned red, and she stammered, "Ha! Why are you looking at me? You didn't hear it as maternity clothes, did you? Are you kidding me? I said sportswear. I'm going to buy sportswear. I've put on weight recently, so I need to lose weight." No one in this room had hearing problems, so everyone heard clearly that she said maternity clothes, and she forcibly changed it into sportswear. She was a little quick-witted, but it was useless. Long Bing looked at Charlotte again. Jiang Rui kicked Charlotte under the table, hinting for him to smooth things over. Charlotte coughed. "Well, okay, I'll go with you to buy sportswear." Jiang Rui also said, "Let's eat." Long Bing continued to chew the sweet and sour spare ribs, but she secretly said in her heart, "Jiang Rui is actually pregnant. Are women with plump, but's really easy to conceive? The old saying makes sense. Haha, this is interesting. Shinta Tianyin and Charlotte haven't had a wedding yet, and she hasn't conceived Charlotte's child, but Jiang Rui, the mistress, is pregnant. If Shinta Tianyin knew about this, Charlotte would lose a layer of skin even if he didn't die. Wait, my butt is also plump and Charlotte, and I didn't use condoms along the way. Will I be tricked? If I'm tricked, what should I do? Chief Long, do you have anything to do in the afternoon?" Jiang Shuqing quickly changed the topic. "If you have nothing to do, I'll invite you to our Haizhu scenic spot. It's beautiful." "Thank you. I'll go shopping with Rui," Long Bing said. "I also want to buy something." Jiang Rui raised the corner of her mouth and said, "Okay, let's go together." But she said in her heart, "Why are you following me?" Third wheel. Charlotte also secretly had a headache. It was so difficult for the three of them to have a meal together and then go shopping together. He must buy a single dress. If he bought clothes for Jiang Rui, how could he not buy clothes for Long Bing? Such a thing, just thinking about it was troublesome. After eating, the three went to the shopping street and walked in and out of the shopping malls. The situation that Charlotte expected still happened, and it was worse than that. "Lei, do you think I look good in this dress?" In a shopping mall, Jiang Rui's voice came. Good, good. Waiter, pack it. Which one do I think looks better? I'll try it." "Lei, do you think I look good in that set of red underwear?" In another shopping mall, Long Bing quietly said to Charlotte while Jiang Rui was choosing maternity clothes. Good, good. Waiter, pack it. I think the black one looks better." 3 people, 2 women and 1 man, walked in and out of the shopping malls. The shopping bags in Charlotte's hands were also increasing, and finally he wished that he could have more hands to hold them. From one end of the street to the other, the shopping trip was finally over. The 2 women bought a lot of clothes, cosmetics, handbags, and so on, of course, including Jiang Rui's maternity clothes, nutrition product to protect the fetus, and so on. Jiang Rui told Long Bing that she bought it for a colleague, but Long Bing was too lazy to expose this lie. While the 2 women were resting, Charlotte woke up his mobile phone in China and called Shinta Tianyin. "Honey, I'm back." "You're back, where are you?" "I'll come to you right away." Shinta Tianyin's voice was full of joy and excitement. Charlotte couldn't help glancing at Long Bing and Jiang Rui, who were chatting together, and braced himself to say, "I'm in Haiju's hometown." "Well, I'll be back in 2 days. You go ahead with your business. You don't need to come over. I'll come to you as soon as I come back. Come back soon. I miss you." "I missed you too." This sentence, there is not the slightest bit of fake. Xia Lei really missed her. He would not forget Shinta Tianyin or ignore her because of Long Bing and Jiang Rui's company. He would not forget and ignore Long Bing and Jiang Rui because of Shinta Tianyin. This was his current situation, a mess of universal love. "How much did you miss me?" Shinta Tianyin's voice was full of temptation. Charlotte smiled and said, "My whole body missed you. Oh, by the way, I want to tell you something." After a pause, he said, "She's dead, and I've destroyed those things. You don't have to worry about anything anymore." "Well, I got it. Come back soon. We still have to prepare for the wedding. The day after tomorrow. I'll be back the day after tomorrow. Kiss me, and I'll hang up." Charlotte, on the other side, Jiang Rui's eyes moved to Charlotte, and she said to Long Bing, "Miss Long, who do you think Lei is talking to? He's an employee of the company. Look at his sweet smile. It must be Shindatianin. Then it's Shindatianin. It's normal. Long Bing's eyes moved to Jiang Rui's belly. By the way, how long is your colleague pregnant? Not long. More than a month. How many times did she get pregnant? 7 or 8 times? Jiang Rui covered her mouth and coughed. How would I know? Long Bing smiled and said nothing, but she was secretly worried. Oh no, my situation is similar to hers. Will I be affected too? Charlotte ended the call with Shinatianin, walked over, and said with a smile, Ladies, where are we going next? I know a good place to shop. I heard that it's the 3rd anniversary of the store, and all the goods are 40% off. Let's go and have a look. Jiang Rui looked very excited. Okay, let's go and have a look. Long Bing agreed. Charlotte was silent, and the smile on his face disappeared. Bye-bye, 2 prodigal women. Chapter 541. 2 days later, in Sherborne's office at the headquarters of 101 Innings, Charlotte put a metal box that could protect against radiation on Sherborne's desk. Sherborne was originally sitting in his office chair, but when he saw the metal box on the desk, he stood up and left, standing far away from it. Ling Hao, who was sitting on the sofa, was slightly nervous. Only Long Bing looked as usual, quietly standing next to Charlotte. It was found at the bottom of Okinawa, 21 pieces in total. Charlotte made a simple statement. In addition to these 21 pieces of ancient alloy, I also found a new pointer. Another new pointer? Ling Hao frowned. Sigh, this is troublesome. When will there be an end to the search? This time it's Japan. Where will it be next time? Sherborne also said, no matter how difficult it is, we have to find where the compass is pointing so that we can be prepared. Charlotte smiled bitterly. There's no need to prepare. What do you mean? Ling Hao was puzzled. Have you already determined where the next treasure is? Charlotte said, see for yourself. After saying that, he took out the compass and placed it on the desk. Then, he installed the pointer that he had removed. The pointer on the compass was still. Sherborne was surprised. What's going on? Is it broken? Hurry up and fix it. You fixed it before, and I believe you can fix it this time. Ling Hao also said, yes, the X-Secret Gold Project is very important to our country. You must find a way to fix it. Charlotte did not speak. At this moment, the pointer on the compass suddenly stood up, suspended above the compass, and pointed straight to the sky. This was the reason why Charlotte was too lazy to explain. He knew that the pointer this time would stand up and point to the sky after accumulating some kind of energy. When the energy was exhausted, it would return to its original position. Then, he accumulated energy and erected it again, repeating the process over and over again. Ling Hao and Sherborne stared at the compass with their mouths agape. They stared at the vertical needle and were speechless for a long time. While the two of them were in a daze, the needle on the compass had already repeated its motion. Charlotte shrugged. Now you know why I said there's no need to prepare, right? The next treasure point is in the sky. With our current abilities, we are unable to find the next treasure point. The treasure hunt with the compass and pointer is over. Ling Hao came back to his senses. How did this happen? Sherborne said, could it be that the metal came from an alien planet? Do aliens really exist? Charlotte shook his head. I don't know if there are aliens or not, but I know that this metal is definitely not simple. I've used all the ancient alloys I've found to piece together a box, but the last piece is missing. Box. This time, even Long Bing was moved, because this was the first time she had heard Charlotte talk about his research. Charlotte said, yes, a box. It's in the box, but I don't suggest you check it. I've taken photos. Look at the photos. A few photos appeared on the desk. Sherborne, Ling Hao, and Long Bing all came over to have a look. Those photos were indeed photos of a box. Charlotte took photos of the whole box and each side of the box. As he said, the box was missing a corner and was not complete. After seeing the photos, Ling Hao and Sherborne looked at each other. Both of them were unwilling and confused. An incomplete box in the sky. What the hell is going on? Ling Hao sighed. I don't know how to explain such a thing to my superiors. Sherborne stared at the picture that was missing a corner and said, Lei, look at the picture you took. This box is only missing one piece. If you find this piece, you will be able to complete the box and solve the mystery of the Mithril project, right? The problem is that I can't find the last piece. Charlotte was also full of helplessness. Lei, what do you think will be the result if you put the box together? Ling Hao stared straight at Charlotte, waiting for his answer. Charlotte said, I don't know, but I'm sure that no matter what the result is, it will shake the world. In fact, if he told the truth that he already knew, the secret of Princess Yomei alone could shake the world. A real soul that could kill people invisibly. Unfortunately, she was gone. Ling Hao thought for a moment. Well, you leave the compass, and I will arrange for someone to take it around the world. If there is no result, then I will send someone to take it to the space station. In this way, if the next treasure is on the moon, there is still a little hope. What if it is on a planet other than the moon? Charlotte asked. Ling Hao smiled bitterly. Then there is no other way. The U.S. Mars project will start in 2030. As for us, it is estimated that it will take decades. In this life, you may have the opportunity to take the compass to a planet other than the Earth to find the last piece of ancient alloy. Charlotte didn't think he would have such an opportunity. Even if China had the ability to send him to the moon, or even to Mars, he may not be able to find the last piece of ancient alloy. Sir Boren patted Charlotte on the shoulder. Leicester, don't be discouraged. There may be other reasons why the compass is like this. Be optimistic. Take the ancient alloy you found back to study. It is best if you can find something. If not, it is not your fault. We all know that you have tried your best. Yes, Ling Hao said. Leave the search for the next treasure to the government. You could take over when there is progress. Charlotte nodded. Well, then I will take the ancient alloy back to study. No matter what I find, I will report to you. Sir Boren said, hurry up and take these things away. I'm scared just looking at your box. Also, the Secret Gold project needs to be studied and the gun needs to be made. Our army is still waiting for your Gale assault rifle. Don't mess it up, or I will not forgive you. Charlotte smiled and left Sir Boren's office with the box. The treasure hunting mission in Japan had ended here. Long Bing followed Charlotte out and whispered, Lei, are you going back to the Thunderhorse Army factory, or to Tianyin? Charlotte said, I will put the things back in the laboratory of the Thunderhorse Army factory first, and then go to Tianyin. I have been out for such a long time, it is time to go back and see. Go back. I will wait for you at home on Saturday, Long Bing said. Charlotte, what are you two talking about here? Tang Yuyin's voice suddenly came from the other end of the corridor. She was wearing a black combat suit, which was torn in several places, and there were some bloodstains on her neck. But even though she looked like she had just stepped out of the front line, her lips were curled up in a charming smile as she spoke teasingly. Did you go to war? Charlotte said with a smile. A group of terrorists sneaked in from the east. I led a team to chase them for 7 days and 7 nights before killing them. Tang Yuyin said, and then looked at Long Bing with a strange look in her eyes. Hey, I haven't seen you for a while. Chief Long, your complexion is much better than before. Are you in love? Long Bing gave Tang Yuyin a look and said, what are you talking about? Tang Yuyin looked at Charlotte again and said, I just heard a woman say who she is waiting for at home on Saturday. I also heard that love will make a woman more beautiful. Charlotte, you left me on this trip to Japan. Could it be she didn't go on, but Charlotte and Long Bing knew what she wanted to say. A woman of 101 innings was really not simple, and Tang Yuyin was a woman reincarnated as a fox. Long Bing was also secretly annoyed in her heart. Her unintentional words were overheard by Tang Yuyin. Just this sentence, coupled with the change in her complexion, was enough to let Tang Yuyin, this little fox, smell something. Charlotte smiled. Yuyin, I have an appointment with Chief Long on Saturday to have dinner at her house to celebrate the successful completion of our mission. I will bring Tianyin with me. If you're interested, you can also come. It's better to bring your boyfriend and let us get to know each other. I see that you look good. You must be nourished by love. Nourish your head. I'm not interested. Tang Yuyin gave Charlotte a look and walked quickly. When she passed by, she suddenly stretched out her foot and stepped on Charlotte's foot. Charlotte didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Tang Yuyin twisted her waist and walked to Sherborne's office. After a few steps, she turned back to say something, but Charlotte and Long Bing had already walked to the exit of the corridor. Her expression suddenly became gloomy, and she stayed in a daze for a few seconds before turning back. Walking out of the underground base, Long Bing said with a smile, "You are quick-witted. Otherwise, Tang Yuyin will definitely make wild guesses. I'm not afraid of other people's gossip, but if Shinda Tianyin finds out, you will be in trouble." Charlotte smiled bitterly. "I was forced to do this. The more I encounter this kind of situation, the more experience I have. Remember, I will wait for you at home on Saturday." "Okay, I will come to your house on Saturday," Charlotte said. A few minutes later, Charlotte and Long Bing drove 2 cars away from 101 Innings. Charlotte drove his Chevrolet Suburban off-road van straight to the Lei Ma Jun factory. When he returned to the capital, he had to go to 101 Innings to submit the mission as soon as possible. He didn't have time to study the box made up of 29 parts. Now, he brought the box back to the laboratory to do a study. Of course, the most important thing was to go home. He planned to return to his and Shinda Tianyin's home, Lane House, after studying the box. The Chevrolet Suburban off-road van sped along the street, and the city scenery passed by the window. Xiaolei's mind flew back to his laboratory in advance. From the first piece of ancient alloy parts to the box made up of 29 ancient alloy parts, Xiaolei's mind returned to his laboratory in advance. Those experiences, the people and things related to AE, flashed through his mind one by one. His brain couldn't stop thinking about these people and things. He only needed one part to form a complete box. Then, was he only one step away from solving the secret of AE? Chapter 542. Returning to the underground laboratory in the mansion, Charlotte placed the box made of ancient alloy parts on the workbench. The box was a square box with a side length of 12 centimeters, only a little shorter than the length of his palm. He could pick it up with one hand. Although it was made of metal, it was very light. Such a large box weighed less than half a kilogram. It was estimated that if he found the last piece and assembled it into a complete box, it would weigh about half a kilogram. The extreme strength, very lightweight, and the fact that it could absorb the electromagnetic waves emitted by radar without any coating meant that no radar in the world could detect its existence. Based on these characteristics alone, this ancient alloy was indeed the #1 top-notch material for making fighter jets. No country wouldn't be tempted by this material, which was why China valued the X-secret metal project. However, it was difficult to mass-produce this ancient alloy because its composition couldn't be analyzed so far. Without knowing what it was made of, how could he make it? If possible, Charlotte really wanted to see through the composition of this ancient alloy and then dedicate it to the country, so that the country could make this ancient alloy and use it in the aerospace industry. This way, even if he couldn't solve the secret of AE, he would accept it. I thought that after finding the 29 pieces of ancient alloy, Princess Yomei would be able to solve the confusion in my heart, but I didn't expect that she didn't know either. What's even more ridiculous is that even she has disappeared. I can't find the last piece of ancient alloy. What should I do to solve the secret of this box? While looking at the box, Charlotte's heart was troubled. In a moment, his left eye twitched slightly, awakening the ability to see through the box. The feeling of horror immediately swept through his body and soul. This time, it lasted twice as long as before, and the various feelings of pain were also more intense. In the end, he returned to normal, but unfortunately, Princess Yomei still didn't appear. This time, he didn't get anything. Where did Princess Yomei go? When he was still in the Jiaoyu Island area, he thought about this question, but unfortunately, he didn't find the answer until now. After quietly spacing out for a while, Charlotte moved the missing piece of the box in front of him, then stared at the gap and fell into deep thought. It was dark inside the gap. It was very strange because the light from the underground laboratory could not shine in. This was not normal because the overhead light shone into the gap from above. Under normal circumstances, even if it did not illuminate the entire space inside the box. It should have illuminated a part of it. However, the reality was that the light was absorbed when it approached the gap, leaving nothing behind. This gap was a black hole. A few minutes later, Charlotte extended a finger towards the gap. He wanted to know what would happen if he poked his finger into the dark space inside the box. However, just as he was about to reach the gap, he gave up. The space inside the box could even swallow light. If it also swallowed his finger, then it would be big trouble. Xiao Lei found a gel pen and used it to replace his finger. He carefully handed it over to the gap. The gel pen approached the gap and poked in bit by bit. There was no suction force, no shattering vibration, and no strange phenomenon. Charlotte felt like he was putting a pen into a pen holder. However, something strange still happened. The length of the gel pen was 15 centimeters, 3 centimeters longer than the side of the box. However, Charlotte had already poked the gel pen to 14 centimeters, but it did not touch the wall of the box. Under normal circumstances, the gel pen should have touched the inner wall of the box when it was 12 centimeters. Where did the 2 centimeters go? This question popped up in Xiao Lei's mind, and his heart was filled with shock and confusion. Then he simply poked the gel pen in his hand into the gap. He was very careful during the process. After poking with force, he quickly withdrew his finger and did not touch the dark space inside the gap. The pen disappeared. Charlotte put the box on the electronic scale to weigh it, but the weight of the box did not increase at all. What's going on? Charlotte was confused. Ring, ring, ring. Ring, ring, ring. A series of ringtones suddenly rang, interrupting Charlotte's thoughts. The call was from Shinta Tianin. Her voice was still as sweet as ever. Hubby, why aren't you home yet? I've been waiting for you at home for an hour. I'm in the lab. I'll be back soon, Charlotte said. Okay, kiss me. Hee hee. Charlotte kissed the phone and hung up. However, at this moment, the space above the box suddenly trembled slightly. The gel pen suddenly appeared. Charlotte stared at the gel pen, dumbfounded, not only because it reappeared in front of him in such a strange way, but also because it seemed to have spent thousands of years in a certain space. Its material had lost its luster and appeared to be an ancient pale yellow. The sticker on the pen had also lost its color, and the writing was blurred. What was more exaggerated was that the ink in the pen had become solid, leaving only a little clatter. With a crisp sound, the gel pen fell on the workbench and broke into pieces. Charlotte was stunned for a moment. He could not help but press one of the pieces with his hand. In the end, he only used a little bit of force, but the piece turned into a pile of ashes. Charlotte was inexplicably horrified. In a minute, a brand new gel pen seemed to have experienced thousands of years. If a person went in, what would the result be? When this thought came to his mind, Charlotte secretly felt lucky. Fortunately, he maintained a trace of vigilance and did not rashly poke his finger in. If he had poked his finger in, then he would have inexplicably spent 1,000 years and directly turned into a pile of ashes. Forget it, I'll do this kind of experiment next time. Charlotte put away his thoughts. He put the box into a special box and then put the box into the safe. This kind of thing would not result in a day or two. What he most wanted to do now was not to continue his research, but to see his wife, Shinta Tianin. As soon as he walked out of the villa, Charlotte ran into Anina, who was walking towards him. Charlotte secretly had a headache. He had accepted Jiang Rui and Long Bing, but after marrying Shinta Tianin, he broke off the previous relationship with Anina, and she had always followed him wholeheartedly and worked hard for his career. As a result, when facing Anina, he inevitably felt a sense of guilt in his heart. Lucas, come with me. I have something to tell you. As soon as they met, Anina went straight to the point. She looked a little nervous. Charlotte did not ask what it was. He nodded and then followed Anina into the study of the villa. What is it? After closing the door, Charlotte asked. Anina opened the drawer of the desk and took out a letter from the drawer. The envelope was written with Anina's name in German and the German words used by the German embassy. Seeing such an envelope, Charlotte suddenly had a bad feeling in his heart. Anina handed the envelope to Charlotte. This is a letter from the German embassy to me. It was sent to the guardroom by a courier. I have read this letter. The letter says that my wanted order has been lifted and I can return home. Not only that, but they are even willing to apologize to me for being wanted in the past and give me €1,000,000 in compensation. Charlotte looked at the contents of the letter. It was the same as what Anina said. His mood also became bad, and he remained silent. Lucas, what do you think? Anina looked at Charlotte and looked a little anxious. Charlotte sighed. Anina, do you want to go back? Anina said, I want to go back, but what? But I can't bear to leave you. I don't know what to do. Anina's heart was full of entanglement and pain. She was a German. Her friends and relatives were all in Germany. Her living habits were also completely different from the living habits of the Chinese. Under such circumstances, she was homesick and wanted to go home. This was human nature and understandable. However, in Charlotte's view, this matter was not as simple as it seemed on the surface. The Thunder Horse military factory had now become a dark horse in the light weapons industry, and it was a world-class dark horse. The XL 2500 sniper rifle and the Gale assault rifle produced by the Thunder Horse military factory were unparalleled in the world. No weapons manufacturer could challenge the position of these two guns in the world. However, Anina, a mechanic from Germany, had an indelible credit for the shooting and production of these two guns. She was also the only person who knew the core's secret besides Charlotte. At this time, the German government suddenly became kind and lifted the wanted order against Anina. They were also willing to apologize and even give €1,000,000 in compensation. Who would believe that the German government did not come for the core secret of the Thunder Horse military factory? After a long silence, Charlotte said, Anina, this matter is a bit strange. Give me some time. I will investigate it first, and then we can discuss it. What do you think? Well, no problem. Anina simply agreed. After a pause, she said, Lucas, I know you have some concerns in your heart, but I can swear to you that even if I return to Germany, I will not sell your secret. If they ask me to hand over the secret of the XL 2500 sniper rifle and the Gale assault rifle, I will not agree. Please believe me on this. Charlotte secretly sighed in his heart. It seems that in her heart, she still wants to go back. On the surface, he smiled and said, Of course I believe you, but if this is a scam, and they trick you into going back and then torture you and spank you, will you tell them? Anina suddenly turned around and raised her plump butt. You could try it now. You can spank me and see if I will give in. Charlotte was stunned for a moment and finally slapped her. There was a crisp sound, and the soft place rippled. The feeling of spanking her was wonderful, but Charlotte's heart was full of worries. He also had a question in his heart. Who leaked the secret of Anina being in the Thunder Horse military factory to the German government? Chapter 543. Before meeting Shintatianin, Charlotte tried hard to clear out all the things in his mind, not only related to the ancient alloy, but also related to Long Bing and Jiang Rui. He felt that he had already practiced in this aspect, and he could face Shintatianin calmly. But when he saw Tianin in Lane House, the feeling of guilt still emerged, and he couldn't be calm. It's good that you're back. I was very worried about you during this period of time, and I couldn't get through to you on the phone. I asked people to inquire about you in Japan, but there was no result. You don't know, I couldn't sleep at night for a few days, afraid that something would happen to you. As soon as they met, Shintatianin gave Charlotte a hug and said these words in his ear. Charlotte gently hugged her slender waist. It's all over, don't worry. Then, he moved closer to Shintatianin's ear and said in a low voice, Gu Qian is already dead, and the evidence that could threaten you has been destroyed. In the future, no one will find trouble with you. But in the future, Shintatianin suddenly moved closer and kissed Charlotte's lips. Charlotte originally wanted to persuade her not to do similar things in the future, but facing Shintatianin's kiss, he couldn't say anything even if he had more words in his heart. A businessman had to have ambition, as well as the wisdom to do business. Shintatianin had reached the pinnacle of these two aspects. There was an old saying that when things reached an extreme, they would move in the opposite direction. A person's ambition was too big and too smart, sometimes it might not be a good thing. However, Charlotte also knew that with Shinta Tianin's character, he couldn't persuade her at all. And Fu Mingmei suddenly appeared and said hypocritically, you guys, I didn't see anything. Shinta Tianin finally let go of Charlotte and glared at Fu Mingmei. Fu Mingmei said with a smile, Sir, did you bring any gifts back from Japan? Charlotte suddenly remembered something and said, I almost forgot. I had to bring some gift back from Japan. They're in the car. Wait a moment, I'll bring the things in. Shinta Tianin pulled Charlotte back. Let Mingmei go. You accompany me. Charlotte said, Let me go. Those things are very valuable and easily broken. What is it? Fu Mingmei asked curiously. Charlotte did not explain and walked out of the door to the garage. The moment Charlotte stepped out of the door, Shun Tu-rin walked over from the study. He looked around the living room. Didn't they say that Leicester is back? Where is he? The plane I booked has returned. I wanted to take a look. Dad, isn't that the dowry you bought for me? Since it's a dowry, you have to take it out at the wedding. I don't want to see it now. Shintu Tianin said. Shin Tu-rin said unhappily. Can't even I take some of Leicester's time now? Really? Okay. I'll take it out at the wedding. Is that okay? The father and daughter chatted for a while, and then Charlotte came in with a big cardboard box. Seeing Shun Tu-rin, he greeted Shin Tu-rin before he put down the box. Dad, I brought you a gift. You will like it. Why are you being so polite with me? What gift? Let me see. Although he was being polite, Shin Tu-rin leaned over. Fu Mingmei also leaned over and said, Sir, you must have bought me a gift, right? Hee. Thank you in advance. Charlotte opened the cardboard box, and there were more than 10 pieces of ceramics. There were large decorative vases, teapots and teacups for drinking tea, bowls and plates for eating, and so on. Seeing the porcelain in the cardboard box, Shun Tu-rin was stunned for a moment, and then he exclaimed, these things can't be real, right? Charlotte smiled. Dad, won't you know if it's real or not if you take a look yourself? Take a look. Only then did Shin Tu-rin carefully pick up a teacup. He looked left and right, then flipped it over to look at the bottom of the cup. He was stunned. After a long while, he finally said, Oh my God, isn't this the chicken jar cup from the Ming Dynasty? Not long ago, someone on the internet showed off that his cup's quality wasn't good, but he spent $200 million to bid for it. This one of yours, if it's real, can easily be sold for $200 million. $200 million? A cup? What's wrong with this world? Fu Mingmei said with a smile. Sir, these must be fake, right? Charlotte didn't say anything. At this time, Shin Tu-rin picked up a teapot, checked it, and suddenly took a breath of cold air. Isn't this blue and white porcelain from the Yongle period? Its value is not much lower than the chicken jar cup. Then he looked at the other dozen pieces of porcelain, and then he looked at Charlotte with his mouth agape. Lei, these are all real. Why do you have so many Ming Dynasty antiques? Did you dig up the tombs of the Ming Dynasty's emperors, generals, and ministers? Before Charlotte could speak, Fu Mingmei couldn't help but speak. Master, are these all real? They're not fake? Shin Tu-rin said, Of course they're real. I estimate that they're worth $700 million. Fu Mingmei was suddenly speechless. She had wanted a vase just now, but after hearing Shun Tu-rin's words, she didn't dare to open her mouth. These porcelain from the Ming Dynasty were easily worth tens of millions or even hundreds of millions. She didn't dare to ask for it as a gift. Only then did Charlotte interrupt. He said, Dad, I found these in a shipwreck outside the country. I didn't dig up a tomb in the country, so according to the law of our country, they belong to me. Now, I'm giving them to you as a betrothal gift. This time, even Shun Tu-rin, who was extremely rich and overbearing, was surprised. I just gave you a Boeing 747. It's less than 400 million yuan, and you're giving me a betrothal gift of 700 million yuan. I can't accept it. I can't accept it. Shinta Tianin was secretly happy. Charlotte had taken such precious things as betrothal gifts, and they were worth 700 million or even more. As a woman, how could she not be happy? Charlotte said, Dad, just accept it. If you don't like it, I'll call the auction house and let them deal with it. Then I'll change it to another betrothal gift. Shen Turan was still hesitating. Fu Mingmei said, Master, just accept it. Who is your son-in-law? He's the chairman of Rema Group and the father of rifles in China. He's not short of money when it comes to making arms. Besides, your son-in-law is giving you a betrothal gift worth 800 million yuan. Our young lady is proud, and so is yours. Shinta Tianyin rolled her eyes at Fu Mingmei, but she was very happy in her heart. Shin Tu-run glanced at Shinta Tianyin, as if asking for Shinta Tianyin's opinion. Obviously, he wouldn't accept Fu Mingmei's opinion. Shinta Tianyin nodded and said, Dad, you used to like antiques, and you know a lot of people from the auction house. How about this? You take this betrothal gift and contact your friends to exchange these things for cash. Then, you can exchange the cash for physical gold. On the day of my wedding with Lei Zi, I want to pile up all the gold in the auditorium. If these antiques were sold for money and then exchanged for gold, Charlotte could buy more than 3 tons of gold. If these 3 tons of gold were all exchanged for gold bricks, he could pile up a gold wall in the auditorium. It wasn't hard to imagine what kind of expression the guests who came to the wedding would have when they saw the gold wall piled up with gold bricks. Shen Tu-ren obviously didn't understand the reason why Shinta Tianyin wanted to do this. Charlotte was very clear about Shinta Tianyin's thoughts. The woman he was going to marry was the queen of the Wanxiang Group, with a net worth of 100 billion yuan. Although he currently had a net worth of close to 10 billion yuan, after deducting the loans, it was only a few billion yuan. He wasn't on the same level as Shinta Tianyin. If he married Shinta Tianyin, it was inevitable that people would say that he was taking advantage of others and relying on women to make his fortune. But if she dealt with it this way, in front of the glittering gold wall, who would still say that he was living off a woman? If you have the ability, go and build a gold wall and try living off a woman. Dad, just do as I say, Shinta Tianyin said. Shen Tu-ren nodded and said, All right, we'll do as you say. These antiques are all treasures, and there will be people fighting for them. Who knows, they might even be sold for a better price. No matter how much money it is, I'll exchange it for physical gold and build a gold wall for your wedding. Charlotte smiled and said, Then I'll have to trouble Dad. Shen Tu-ren smiled and said, Look at you, you're still being polite with me. Come, let's go see the plane I bought for you. Shinta Tianyin was unhappy and said, Dad, didn't we agree? We still have to go see the plane? Shen Tu-ren glared at Shinta Tianyin and said, Why? Can't we go see it on the computer? He made a video for me, and I'll take Lei Zi to watch it. Don't worry. If he dares to leave today, I'll tie him up with a rope. Charlotte carefully carried the cardboard box and followed Shen Tu-ren to the study. Fu Mingmei sighed and said, Sigh, when can I marry such a man? My wedding will also be built with a gold wall. Hee, just thinking about it makes me happy. Shinta Tianyin smiled and said, In ancient times, when a young lady got married, she would always choose a maid to accompany her. Why don't you be the maid to accompany her? In this way, the gold wall will be equal to you. Half. Fu Mingmei's eyes lit up and said, I'll do half. Dream on. Shinta Tianyin raised a finger and said, A gold brick. I'm going to cook. Fu Mingmei pouted and muttered as she walked. I'm destined to be a maid to cook, humph. Shinta Tianyin chuckled and said, Remember that bag of ingredients in the kitchen. Make soup for Charlotte. Fu Mingmei looked back at Shinta Tianyin and said, There's a disgusting Bengal tiger in that bag of ingredients. Will son-in-law eat it? If you don't tell him, how will he know what it is? Okay, I'll cook it, but I don't know if son-in-law can stand it after eating it. You. Shinta Tianyin waved his hand and slapped her. Fu Mingmei nimbly dodged and then ran to the kitchen as if she was escaping. That night, for some reason, Xiaolei's condition was surprisingly good. He was especially powerful. Shinta Tianyin, on the other hand, was miserable. However, she was the one who carried the stone, so she had to endure it no matter how painful it was. Wife, what's going on? I still want it. Still want it? I'm already asleep. You're asleep? Snore. Then you sleep? I'll do it myself. Up. Chapter 544. Early the next morning, Shinda Tianyin and Charlotte kissed goodbye. Fu Mingmei drove Shinda Tianyin's Rolls-Royce Phantom to the Wanxiang Group, while Charlotte drove back to the Thunder Horse military factory alone. When he returned to the Thunder Horse military factory, it was already time to go to work, but there was no one in Anina's office. He followed to the villa and opened the door of Anina's room, only to find that she was still sleeping in the bed. Anina's work style had always been very rigorous. She was never late for work. Every time, she was the first to arrive at the office or the workshop. But this time, it was already past work time, and she was still sleeping in the bed. This situation had already shown that she was indeed troubled by the conditions offered by the German embassy. Now she was not in the mood to go to work. She was even thinking about when she should leave China and return to Germany. I must deal with her problem, otherwise the Germans will take advantage of me, Charlotte secretly said in his heart, very distressed. He believed that Anina was not willing to sell him out, but she was just an ordinary woman after all. She could not fight against German agents and politicians. What was certain was that once Anina returned to Germany, it would not take long for the Germans to master the secrets of the XL 2500 sniper rifle and the Gale assault rifle. With the Germans' world-leading manufacturing ability, it would not be a problem for the Germans to copy the XL 2500 sniper rifle and the Gale assault rifle. Now it seemed that the Germans not only knew that Anina was hiding in his military factory, but also knew that Anina was involved in the design of the XL 2500 sniper rifle and the Gale assault rifle that shocked the world. Otherwise, the Germans would not have offered such conditions. Anina seemed to notice that there was one more person in the room. She opened her eyes and saw Charlotte. A smile suddenly appeared on the corner of her mouth. "Lucas, when did you come?" Charlotte smiled, sat on the edge of the bed, and looked at her. "I just came in and saw that you were sleeping. I didn't want to disturb you." Anina said, "I woke up a long time ago, but I didn't want to get up. Oh, by the way, I want to rest today and not go to work. Is that okay?" "Of course you can. From the XL 2500 sniper rifle to the Gale assault rifle, you've been tired for such a long time. You should have given yourself a break long ago. Have a good rest," Charlotte said. Anina sighed. "So what if it's a holiday? I can't go out, and there's no one to accompany me. I feel so lonely. Lucas, I miss our time in Germany so much. We work together, barbecue at my house, drink beer. We rode on the road, try to overtake the stupid cars. Don't you miss that time? I also miss that time. It's a very precious memory." As Charlotte spoke, he sighed inwardly. Sigh. Looks like she's made up her mind to return to Germany. What can I do to make her stay? Lucas, I thought about it for a long time last night. I want to go back to Germany. Are you really leaving? Yes, I want to go back to Germany. I am German. My home is there, and so are my family and friends. Can't you think about it a little more? I've thought about it very clearly. Lucas, I like you. When I was in Germany, I thought you were my angel. For you, I was willing to do anything. That's why I stayed in China. But another woman took you away from me. I can't keep you by my side anymore. You've become someone else's angel. What's the point of me staying here? It was a very obvious hint. This hint also provided Charlotte with a way to solve the problem, but he hesitated. It was a headache. He already had 3 women, and no matter what the reason was, he was with all of them. Among these women, Shinta Tianyin didn't know of the existence of Long Bing and Jiang Rui. Jiang Rui didn't know of the existence of Long Bing, but Long Bing knew of the existence of Shinta Tianyin and Jiang Rui. And now he needed to take care of each woman's feelings and spend time with them. This situation was already chaotic enough. If Anina was added, he would have 4 women. He needed 4 days to accompany one woman for 1 day. How could he play around? At this moment, Anina suddenly lifted the quilt and climbed out of bed. She didn't have even a square centimeter of cloth on her body. Her voluptuous body was exposed to Charlotte's sight without any cover. Snow white and tender skin, golden hair, and golden grass. Her sexiness was completely different from that of Asian women. If compared to cars, Asian women were probably comfortable sedans, exquisite and beautiful. She, on the other hand, was an off-road vehicle with powerful horsepower. She was wild and passionate. Anina had a habit of sleeping naked, which Charlotte already knew. In addition, he also knew that Anina had upgraded her hint. She said those words first, and now she didn't shy away from getting up in front of him. She didn't mind him seeing her naked body. Even if he was a pig, he should be able to understand her intentions. Anina got off the bed. She was wearing a pair of slippers, but she said to Charlotte, "Lucas, can you pass that to me?" Xiaolei followed her finger and saw a pair of T-shaped panties. It was black and had a mesh pattern. Looking at it, Charlotte was in a daze. Anina shrugged. "Lucas, why are you in a daze?" Only then did Charlotte come back to his senses. He walked over and grabbed the T-shaped panty, passing it to Anina across the bed. Anina reached out to take it, but Charlotte didn't let go. The elastic T-shaped panty was straightened in the air and turned into a rope. One end of the rope was Anina's hand, and the other end was Charlotte's hand. The air froze at this moment. The two of them looked at each other, and invisible sparks were released when their eyes met. Anina grinned. "Lucas, what do you want?" "For the Thunder Horse Military Factory, for my career, I have to subdue this vixen." Charlotte had already made up his mind. His hand suddenly pulled in her direction. He didn't use much strength, but Anina fell on the bed in an exaggerated manner. "Lucas, what do you want?" "Promise me, stay." Charlotte pressed on top of her. "Lucas, you're making things difficult for me." Charlotte blocked her cherry lips 10 minutes later. "Anina, promise me, stay." "Okay, but I want to be on top." Charlotte was speechless. Men had to prioritize their careers. Many men worked hard from dawn to dusk for their careers. When it came to him, he also worked hard, but his hard work changed. People were different, and so were their lives. Half an hour later, Anina followed Charlotte out of the villa. Half an hour ago, Anina was still listless and troubled. Now, she was radiant and happy. She gave people the feeling that she was a flower that was about to wither and suddenly received the nourishment of rain and dew. Not only did she get rebirth, but she also became more beautiful. Since your embassy has sent you a letter, they must have investigated very clearly. Maybe they have the relevant evidence. You and I can't escape this matter. We have to solve it head-on, Charlotte said to Anina on the way. "Solve it head-on? How?" Anina said, "They want me to go back, but I don't want to go back now." Her change in attitude was really thorough. Charlotte's hard work was not in vain, and his sweat was not in vain. "I'll make a phone call first to ask for advice from the higher-ups," Charlotte said. Anina said, "Lucas, I'll listen to you. Anyway, I'm not going back." Charlotte smiled, took out his cell phone, and called Ling Hao. On the phone, he briefly described the situation. "This is very troublesome. Do you know who leaked this secret?" It was Ling Hao's voice. Charlotte said, "I just learned about this, and I don't know who leaked it. But whoever it is, he must be after me and the Thunder Horse Military Factory." "You know what Anina means to the Thunder Horse Military Factory. How should we deal with this matter?" The German embassy sent a letter and made a condition, which was to represent the German government. In this case, even if Charlotte wanted to negotiate with the German embassy, he must first ask for advice from the higher-ups and obtain the relevant permission. Ling Hao was silent for a moment and said, "The other party only sent a letter so far. This is probably just a test. I believe they will send someone over to talk to Anina. Don't reject them. Try to get in touch with them and find out their motives. It would be better if you can find out who leaked the secret. Do you understand what I mean?" "Well, I understand." Charlotte understood that this was equivalent to giving him permission to negotiate. "Well, if there is any progress in this matter, call me at any time. Remember, you're not alone in this. Our government is behind you." "Okay, Brother Ling, I'm hanging up. Goodbye." After ending the call with Ling Hao, Charlotte took Anina to the office building and told her what she needed to pay attention to as they walked. Anina nodded repeatedly, looking like she would listen to everything he said. As soon as the two arrived at the office building, Lu Sheng came over and said from a distance, "Chairman Xia, there are two people at the door. They said they were from the German embassy. I looked at their documents and don't know if they are true or not. What do you think we should do?" Charlotte looked over and saw a Mercedes-Benz car parked outside the gate. He said, "Let them come to my office." "Okay, I'll let them in." Lu Sheng walked in the direction of the gate. The people from the German embassy came without hesitation. "Anina, let's go to my office," Charlotte said. Anina moved closer to Charlotte and looked nervous. "Lucas, what should we do? They are here. I am so nervous." "Don't be nervous. I will solve the problem." Charlotte comforted her. "I don't want to leave you. I don't want to go back with them." Charlotte smiled. "You just said you wanted to go back. Why don't you want to go back now?" Anina curled her lips and said discontentedly, "It's because of you. Don't you know how much I love you? I'm in China for you. If you don't want me, what's the point of me staying? We have solved the problem between us. Of course I want to stay. Don't forget, you still owe me a dream, so don't try to get rid of me." Charlotte waved his hand and slapped her round mouth. With a crisp sound, Anina cried out, "Why did you hit me?" Charlotte said with a smile, "You said that I am your angel. Does an angel need a reason to hit you?" Anina glared at Charlotte, but her eyes were full of seductive charm and tenderness. Chapter 545. After entering the office, Charlotte said to Anina, "Wait in the lounge. You can only come out when I call you out." "Okay." Anina suddenly leaned over and kissed Xiaolei on the cheek. Then she hid in the lounge. Charlotte was worried about leaving a lipstick mark, so he wiped his face with a tissue. After tidying himself up, he sat on the sofa and waited for the two Germans to arrive. He was also organizing what he wanted to say in preparation for the upcoming negotiation. A few minutes later, Lu Sheng brought the two Germans into the office. They were two Germans, a man and a woman, both between the ages of 40. The man was tall, taller than Charlotte by a head. He had no expression on his face and looked very serious. The woman was the same as Anina. She had beautiful blonde hair and wore a pair of silver-framed glasses. She looked like a knowledgeable woman. Lu Sheng was about to speak when Charlotte interrupted him. "Lu Sheng, go do what you have to do. I'll take care of these two diplomats." "Okay." Lu Sheng turned and left Charlotte's office. Charlotte smiled. "I'm Charlotte. May I know who these two distinguished guests are?" The German man said, "Mr. Xia, I'm the ambassador of the German embassy, Philip. This is my colleague, Alida." The German woman called Alida greeted Charlotte with a nod. "Hello, Mr. Xia." Both Philip and Alida spoke Chinese fluently. Xiaolei was not surprised by this, because it was a very important condition for an ambassador from one country to another to know the other country's language and be familiar with the other country's culture. He went forward to shake hands with Alida and Philip. He said warmly, "Oh, you are distinguished guests from Germany. Please sit." Philip and Alida sat down, and Xiaolei personally made tea for the two Germans. "May I know why you are here?" Charlotte sat opposite the two Germans and started a conversation. Philip said, "Mr. Xia, I'll be straightforward. We're here for Anina. Please let her come out and meet us." "Anina?" Charlotte pretended to be surprised. "Do I have such a person here? Why didn't I know about this?" Sneered Philip. "Don't pretend, Mr. Summer. Since we've personally come to you, it means that we already have the relevant evidence in our hands." Alida said, "Mr. Xia, it's not wise to pretend that you don't know or stop us from meeting Anina. We have come in good faith to settle the matter amicably. If you continue to fool us, the problem will escalate. As you know, Hua Nation and Germany have extensive trade cooperation and cultural exchanges. If this matter develops into a hostile relationship, it won't do anyone any good." Charlotte said indifferently, "Are you two threatening me?" Philip said, "Mr. Xia, if you insist on thinking so, there's nothing we can do." Charlotte frowned slightly. The attitude of the two Germans was very clear and tough. This was what he didn't want to see. Alida said, "Mr. Xia, you're not a politician, but I have to remind you that the relationship between our two countries is very harmonious. The cooperation between our two countries is beneficial to both sides. Furthermore, our request is a very reasonable one. Anina is one of us. We have the right to meet her, understand her situation, and give her the necessary help." Charlotte smiled. "You too. I'll be straightforward. Anina is indeed with me. It's fine if you want to see her. But before, you put her on the wanted list, and the American agents even wanted to arrest her. She's my woman, and I have to protect her. So, I have to be clear about one thing. Is there an American involved in this? Philip and Alida looked at each other and exchanged a look. Philip said, Mr. Xia, I can tell you with certainty that there are no Americans involved this time. Charlotte said, Then can you tell me who leaked the secret to you? This is very important to me. Huh? Alita sneered. Mr. Xia, we've been here for so long. You haven't let us see Anina, but you've made a lot of requests of us. Don't you think you're not sincere at all? Philip stood up. Since it's like this, let's escalate the matter. Charlotte smiled bitterly. Wait. He looked at the resting room and said, Anina, come out and meet your compatriots. The door of the resting room opened and Anina walked out. Although she had tried to control her emotions, she still looked very nervous. Xiaolei understood her feelings very well, because she was once a wanted person, and the crime she was accused of was even more shocking, the crime of treason. Such a crime didn't even need to be tried by the court. She could be put in prison for interrogation. Anina sat next to Charlotte. She only felt better when she was next to Charlotte. She took the initiative to greet Philip and Alida. She had a smile on her face, giving the impression that she was very friendly and kind. How could someone like Miss Anina be a spy? Alida said in German, I didn't believe the previous accusation. Fortunately, we've corrected the mistake. Miss Anina, the accusation against you has been dropped. You're now a legal German. You have all the rights and obligations of a German. Yes, no one will hurt you anymore. Philip also said in German, Miss Anina, come back to China with us. Your home is in Germany. Your family and friends are all in Germany. The government has given you a compensation of 1 million euros. You could do whatever you want with the money. You should embrace a new life, a good life, not hide here. The two Germans started a psychological war against Anina as soon as they arrived. They didn't care that Xiaolei was right next to them. But Charlotte wasn't worried at all. A woman who had been completely conquered by him physically and mentally. A woman who saw him as an angel. He wasn't worried at all that she would leave him because of the two Germans' persuasion. As for the 1 million euros, he didn't care about it at all. As long as Anina wanted it, he could give her 10 million euros at any time. Anina remained silent in the face of the two German compatriots' persuasion. She glanced at Charlotte from time to time with her blue eyes. The two Germans said a lot, but the person they were persuading didn't respond. Other than that simple greeting, she didn't say anything else. Such a situation made the two Germans frown. Miss Anina, you have to think carefully. This kind of opportunity doesn't come by every day. If you don't go back, the accusation against you won't be dropped. Our government will also pressure the Chinese government to send you back. By then, the treatment you're enjoying now won't appear again. Philip's tone was aggressive. Anina wanted to say something, but stopped. She looked like she was in a dilemma. She glanced at Charlotte again. Charlotte reached out and grabbed Anina's hand. He stroked it gently and said with a smile, Both of you, I can understand what you're saying. What you're saying is very simple. That is, this time, whether Anina is willing or not, she has to go back with you, right? Yes, we already have the relevant evidence. Now, we can simply ask Miss Anina herself. Under such circumstances, even if you and Miss Anina are not willing, we still have a way to get your government to send her back to Germany. You don't have to doubt this, because your interests in Europe need our support. And you can't bear the consequences of losing our support. Philip's tone was very firm. I don't know much about politics, but I'm very clear that you want Anina to go back has nothing to do with politics. Don't you want tangible benefits? Charlotte said. Philip and Alida didn't say anything. Charlotte continued, I'll be frank. What you want is actually the technology for the XL 2500 sniper rifle and the Gale assault rifle, right? Philip said, I'm Germany's ambassador. I'm only responsible for my own work. I don't know what you're talking about. Alida also shrugged. I'm just Mr. Philip's assistant. I don't know what you're talking about. But I don't think that's the case. Germany's manufacturing industry is leading the world. Even the US has to look at us differently. What I'm trying to say is that Germany isn't coveting China's small arms manufacturing technology, right? Charlotte smiled. Your Germany's HK company was defeated by me in Moscow. Many of their customers became our company's customers. Germany's manufacturing industry is indeed leading the world, but you can't always lead the world, right? China used to lead the world for thousands of years, but there are also times when we fall. We Chinese are hardworking and smart people. We were able to lead the world for thousands of years in the past, and we will lead the world in the future. We are reviving, and no one can stop us. Not the US, not Europe. In my opinion, the Thunder Horse military factory is a living example. Our XL 2500 sniper rifle and Gale assault rifle are already leading the world, aren't they? Mr. Xia, what are you trying to say? A sarcastic smile appeared on the corner of Philip's mouth. I know that your people are smart and hardworking, but what we have to face today is Miss and Nina going back to Germany. What's the point of you talking about this? Charlotte said, Mr. Philip, I can tell you with certainty that your plan is wrong. Even if you bring Anina back to Germany, you won't be able to get the technology for the Gale assault rifle and the XL 2500 sniper rifle. Anina did participate in the design, but the part she was responsible for was the basic part. I, on the other hand, am the one responsible for the core part. I am a father of rifles in China. The person you're looking for is actually me, not Anina. Philip and Alida couldn't help but look at each other again. Their expressions became complicated. Charlotte had said their goal, and that was indeed their goal. There wasn't a country that didn't want the technology for the XL 2500 sniper rifle and the Gale assault rifle, which were leading the world. Because this technology not only represented huge military profits, but could also improve the combat power of a country's army. In their opinion, bringing back Anina, who participated in the design of these two guns, would be able to get the technology they wanted. But now, Charlotte told them that Anina was only responsible for the basic part, and he was responsible for the core part. So what was the use of bringing Anina back? Anina couldn't help but look at Charlotte, because she knew that Charlotte was lying. The truth was that whether it was the XL 2500 or the Gale assault rifle, she knew the core secret. Philip suddenly laughed. Mr. Xia, you're a smart businessman. My mother once taught me to be careful when dealing with businessmen. Do you think I'll believe what you say? Chapter 546. In fact, it wasn't that Philip didn't completely believe Charlotte's words. The order he received was also very clear, which was to bring Anina back to Germany no matter what. The reason was very simple. For Germany, it was more beneficial to bring Anina back to Germany than to let her stay in China. Anina seemed to be aware of this, and she said, Yes, Mr. Philip, I'm really only responsible for some of the basic parts. I'm not clear about the core parts. It's useless for you to bring me back to Germany. Besides, I don't want to go back. Philip snorted coldly. Miss Anina, I don't think you understand the situation. This time, whether you want to or not, you have to go back to Germany. Even if Germany drops the charges against you, you still have to go back and explain what happened. Anina couldn't say anything. At this time, Charlotte said, Mr. Philip, I believe there is no business in this world that can't be discussed. The bargaining chip in your hand is Anina, and the bargaining chip in my hand is the production technology for the XL 2500 sniper rifle and the Gale assault rifle that you want. I think as long as we both sit down and talk, we will definitely come up with a result that satisfies both of us. Don't you think so? Philip said, Anything can be discussed. How about this? Tell me your conditions. Charlotte said, Before I say anything, I want to be clear about one thing. What is it? Mr. Philip, I want to ask, are you in charge of this matter, or is someone else in charge? Charlotte asked. Of course I'm in charge. Are you sure? Oh, Philip was a little unhappy. Mr. Xia, do you think I'm not qualified as an ambassador? No. I absolutely didn't mean that. If my words made you uncomfortable, I apologize. That's not necessary. Charlotte then said, What you want is the production technology for the XL 2500 sniper rifle and the Gale assault rifle. This is very important to our country. However, we are not like the West, where we have a technology blockade. We are willing to share the production technology for the XL 2500 sniper rifle and the Gale assault rifle, but you have to share the corresponding benefits with us. What do you mean? Asked Philip tentatively. Charlotte smiled. For example, the technology of the Leopard 2 tank and the engine technology of the Typhoon. Huh? Philip suddenly burst into laughter. Charlotte didn't say anything and just smiled at him. Philip disdainfully said, Mr. Xia, you really dare to open your mouth. You actually want to use the production technology of light weapons to exchange for our German Leopard 2 tank technology and even the engine technology of the Typhoon fighter. Don't you think you are very childish? Furthermore, it's too childish. Charlotte had a smile on his face. He was not angry at all in the face of such mockery. Elita said, Mr. Xia, you asked if our Mr. Ambassador is fully in charge of this matter. I also want to ask you, what role do you play in this matter? Can you take full responsibility for what you said? I got the authorization a long time ago. Charlotte said. He had indeed received authorization from Ling Hao. Ling Hao's identity was very special. It was enough to have his authorization. Also, the conditions he proposed were for the greatest benefit for China. He had the courage to act first and report later. Even if you have the authorization, Philip said, Mr. Xia, the conditions you proposed are too much. We just want to bring Nina back. That is our goal. We will not do this kind of unprofitable business with you. Unprofitable? Haha. Charlotte also laughed. Philip said with disdain, What are you laughing at? You want to use the production technology of light weapons to exchange for our tank and fighter engine technology. Do you think we're the ones who make the most profit? Charlotte said, Mr. Philip, I know that the most advanced machine tool in Germany is made by an electrical engineer named Joseph. He is also an excellent mechanic. But do you really think that his smart machine tool is the most advanced? Philip and Alito were stunned. Charlotte continued, I will tell you the truth. The key to producing the XL 2500 sniper rifle and the Gale assault rifle is not only the structure of the gun, but also the smart machine tool that I made myself. Without my machine tool, even if you get my design, you can't make the same gun. You dare say that your smart machine tool is more advanced than our German smart machine tool? Philip came back to his senses, but he couldn't believe what Charlotte said. Charlotte said lightly, My production workshop is next door. You can visit it at any time. Well, Philip hesitated. He really wanted to visit the production workshop of the Thunder Horse Army factory, but he was a layman and didn't understand smart machine tool at all. It would be a waste of time to see it. However, he didn't doubt what Charlotte said, because making a gun was not only a matter of blueprints, but also the production line, and the machine tool was an indispensable part of the production line. Without the top machine tool, how could the Thunder Horse Army factory make the world's leading XL 2500 sniper rifle and the Gale assault rifle? Alita moved closer to Philip and whispered something to him. Charlotte interpreted what she said with his lips. She said, I think what he said is true. We should report this to the higher-ups. If we can get the smart machine tool of the Thunder Horse Army factory, it will be a greater benefit for us. Machine tools played a very important role in manufacturing. In the past, when Charlotte hadn't stolen Joseph's smart machine tool technology, almost all the precision parts China needed were imported. Why? It was because there was no advanced smart machine tool. After Charlotte copied Joseph's smart machine tool, the awkward situation ended. Now, China almost no longer imported precision parts in the high-end field. They could do it themselves. The importance of smart machine tools could be seen. The smart machine tools of the Thunder Horse Army factory were upgraded from Joseph's smart machine tools. They were more advanced and perfect than the smart machine tools sold to the Shenzhou Industrial Group. It could be said that the smart machine tools in the Thunder Horse Army factory were the most advanced smart machine tools in the world. For the Germans, who were the world's most advanced in manufacturing, this was indeed a great temptation. After reading Elita's lips, Charlotte already had an idea in his heart. But he said calmly, Mr. Philip, how about this? You can report to your side. Ask them to send an expert team over to take a look at our smart machine tools and our production line. Then, if you still think that you can make the real XL 2500 sniper rifle and the Gale assault rifle after you bring Nina back, then you can take her back. I won't set any obstacles. But if you want to talk business, I welcome you at any time. You take what you want, and we take what we want. That's in everyone's interest, isn't it? Mr. Xia, you're right. I don't know about smart machine tools, and I don't know anything about making guns. How about this? I'll go back to the embassy now and make a call to see what our side thinks. I'll contact you as soon as I have any news, Philip said. Charlotte smiled and said, That's it. It was nice to meet you. Goodbye, Mr. Philip. Goodbye, Miss Alida. Philip and Alida got up and shook hands with Charlotte and Anina respectively. Charlotte sent Philip and Alida out of the door and said casually, Mr. Philip, please explain the situation clearly. The production technology of the XL 2500 sniper rifle and the Gale assault rifle, plus the world's most advanced integrated smart machine tool technology in exchange for the engine technology of your Typhoon fighter. You don't want the technology of the Leopard 2 tank? Philip looked at Charlotte. Charlotte smiled and said, It's not good to be too greedy. My mother once taught me that I shouldn't be too greedy. We'll use 3 technologies to exchange for one of your technologies. I think that's about right. Philip looked at Anina, who was beside Charlotte. What about her? Charlotte said, Mr. Philip, Anina isn't a commodity. She's my woman. Do you think it's appropriate for you to include her in this deal? Philip pointed at Charlotte and smiled bitterly. You're a smart businessman. No wonder China could rise in just 30 years. You Chinese are really one of the few outstanding people in the world. Charlotte smiled. Then be friends with us while it's still early. Philip and Alida left. The negotiation didn't come to an end, but both parties had figured out each other's intentions. It was a good start for the following negotiations. This was also a big gain. Back in the office, Anina hugged Charlotte. Lucas, I like it when you say that I'm your woman. When I heard you say that just now, I was so excited. Then, she moved closer to Charlotte's ear and whispered something. Charlotte subconsciously glanced between her legs. He had a strange expression on his face. Lucas, are you really going to use all of our technologies to exchange for the engine technology of the Typhoon fighter? If you exchange, even if you get that technology, we won't be able to produce it, but we'll lose real benefits. Tell me why? Charlotte said, Our country's engine technology has always been lagging behind. Most of the fighter engines have to be imported from Russia. We're restricted everywhere. If I can change the situation, then why not? I might lose the monopoly of the XL 2500 sniper rifle and Hurricane assault rifle, but compared to the national interest, my personal gains and losses are nothing. Besides, the money I'm earning now is more than I can spend in a few lifetimes. What do I need so much money for? You're a great man. Anina moved closer to Charlotte's ear and whispered something. Charlotte hurriedly moved away. I have to make a call to report the situation here to the higher-ups. Anina pouted. Then I'll go to work. Charlotte called Ling Hao. He briefly described the situation of the negotiation to Ling Hao. You've got guts. Ling Hao scolded first. He paused and suddenly laughed. But you did well. If you can really get the engine technology of the Typhoon fighter, you'll have done a great service. Then why are you scolding me? Am I scolding you? Haha, Brother Ling, I'm just kidding. Also, you have to come in person for the formal negotiation. After all, this is too big a deal. I have no right to make the decision. Also, please fight for Anina's freedom during the negotiation. I'll definitely come in person. Not just me, but the whole negotiation team. As for what you said about fighting for Anina's freedom, I want to ask, what kind of freedom do you want for her? Charlotte said, freedom in China, freedom in Germany. The most important one is that the Americans can't arrest her or interrogate her. Well, that's not a problem. She's German. I'll bring it up during the negotiation. I think they'll agree. That's it then. Goodbye, kid. Ling Hao hung up. Xia Lei put down his phone, but his mind returned to the original question. Who was the one who leaked the secret? Chapter 547. Someone leaked the secret that Anina was in the Thunder Horse military factory with bad intentions. It was aimed at Charlotte and the Thunder Horse military factory, but Charlotte's actions turned out to be a good thing. If this was successful, He could really use the technologies he had mastered to exchange for the engine technology of the German Typhoon fighter. That would be a great contribution to the country. The formal negotiations had not yet begun, but the two sides were already preparing for the negotiations. Charlotte did not need to do these preparations. He would only participate in the negotiations as an indispensable and important person. And before that, he had his own things to do, which was to continue his project Mystic Gold. In the next few days, in addition to dealing with some major company affairs, he locked himself in the laboratory under the villa to study the ancient alloy. In these 2 days, he tried to put steel bars, chopsticks, paper, plastic, and so on into the space of the box. No matter what material the object was made of, the result was the same. They would disappear in the space of the box and reappear a minute later. The reappearing objects, without exception, seemed to have experienced 1,000 years of time. They weathered quickly, some would fall into powder, and some would be riddled with holes. As for Princess Youngmei, Charlotte had tried to release her no less than 20 times, but she never appeared. She just disappeared inexplicably. He did not know if she disappeared completely or if something happened to her and was somewhere waiting for a chance to return to this world. But no matter what the situation was, Charlotte was now helpless. He could not find the next treasure spot, could not put together a complete box, could not analyze the composition of the ancient alloy, and even Princess Youngmei had disappeared. Charlotte's research had also come to a standstill, and he could not go any further. Is it going to end like this? Looking at the two things on the workbench, the incomplete ancient alloy box and the bronze book, Charlotte was very depressed. He was not willing to end the project Mystic Gold, not only because it could revitalize the country's aerospace industry, but also because of himself. The ancient alloy was a mystery, but wasn't his body also a mystery? Wait, I seem to have found another clue. While he was at his wit's end, an idea suddenly flashed through Charlotte's mind. His gaze shifted to the alloy necklace around his neck. Ancient alloys, Ming Dynasty compasses, bronze treasure books, AE capsules. These items might not be from the same era, but they all had one thing in common, and that was that they were all related to E. Charlotte also took out the AE capsule from the alloy necklace and placed it on the workbench. Thus, 3 items related to AE were displayed on the workbench: the ancient alloy box, the bronze treasure book, and the AE capsule. If the compass of the Ming Dynasty was also here, then the 4 items related to AE would be gathered. Looking at the 3 items on the workbench, Charlotte smiled bitterly. I'm actually one of them. The ancient alloy box, the bronze book, the AE capsule, the Ming Dynasty compass, and myself are actually 5 items related to E. Under such circumstances, he did not mind treating himself as an object. After standing quietly for a while, Charlotte opened the last AE capsule, poured out the powder inside, and placed it on a piece of paper. Looking at the powder with normal eyes, it was just an ordinary white powder. But in Xiaolei's left eye, they were tiny crystals. Every single one of them looked like a moonlight gem that had been cut and polished by a gem cutter in the gem processing industry. Within the pure white, there was a faint blue light. It was very weak and hard to see with the naked eye. What was even more strange was that each moonlight gem was the same size, the same hexagonal shape, and even the luster was exactly the same. In fact, this was not the first time Charlotte studied this AE capsule. He had the ability to see through things before, but this was the first time he was able to take it apart and study it with the microvision ability. Looking at the powder on the paper, Charlotte suddenly had a whimsical idea. Could Princess Young maybe hiding in one of these powders? She's a form of energy. She can compress her body to a small degree that I can't imagine. If this speculation is true, if I eat this powder, wouldn't I eat her as well? Just as this thought settled, a new one popped up. My research can't go any further. If I eat this last AE capsule, what will happen to my body? Will the unknown changes give me new clues? With this idea, Charlotte had an urge to immediately eat the last AE capsule. This impulse was very strong the moment it appeared. The magical hexagonal-shaped powder that looked like moonlight gems also emitted a strong temptation. Under this impulse and temptation, Xiaolei moved his head towards the paper on the workbench. Bit by bit, he moved closer and closer. He stuck out his tongue. As long as he gently licked it, the powder would enter his body. Ring, ring, ring. Ring, ring, ring. His cell phone suddenly rang. Charlotte suddenly woke up and took 2 steps back. He looked at the pile of powder and thought to himself, "What's wrong with me? This is the last AE capsule. If I eat it, how can I study it? It allows my body to evolve. If my evolution has reached the limit of what my body can bear, if I eat it, I won't get any benefits. It's very likely that I will be destroyed. When things reach an extreme, they will move in the opposite direction. This is not only an ancient philosophy, but also a law of nature. Objects go from strong to weak. Life goes from birth to death. No one can escape this law of nature." He took the AE capsule and obtained an incredible superpower. His eyes, his brain, and his body's automatic immunity to detoxification. Perhaps he also has an ability that he doesn't know about. These were not innate. They were forcefully given to him by the AE capsule. Right now, he could still live like a normal person, but there was a possibility that once he took the last AE capsule, his evolution would reach the final step. He might enter another unpredictable state, and he would no longer be able to live like he was now. The probability of this happening is too high. The reason is very simple. If you go beyond the law of nature, you will not be in this natural world. Don't mention the law of nature. Even if you use birds of a feather flock together to explain this possibility, the risk of taking the last AE capsule is very high. A very simple example is that a sheep can't survive in a pack of wolves. A billionaire certainly won't live in a dirty and smelly slum. Princess Yomei always said that he is the only one. This is actually an example, a warning. Ring, ring, ring. Ring, ring, ring. The phone continued to ring. Charlotte shook his head vigorously. Only then did he calm down. He took out his phone. It was Ling Hao. "What are you doing?" Ling Hao's first sentence. "I am in the lab." Charlotte said, "Come out quickly. The German negotiators are here. I brought them to your company. Come and greet them. If everything goes well, we will settle this matter today." "Oh, we are in your office." Ling Hao said, "Okay, I will come out now." Charlotte hung up the phone. A few minutes later, Charlotte walked out of the mansion. The alloy necklace appeared on his neck again. The last AE capsule was still hidden in the pendant of the necklace. Perhaps he would eat the last AE capsule, but definitely not now. In the office, Charlotte saw Ling Hao and the negotiators from the Chinese side and the German side. The number of people from both sides could play a game on the football field. Anina was also among them. Alita was talking to her in a low voice. She looked slightly nervous. Charlotte's eyes suddenly stopped on one of the German side's face. He was stunned for a moment. This person is Joseph, the top electrical engineer in Germany. At the same time, he is also an excellent mechanic. Joseph's appearance surprised Charlotte, but at the same time, he was not surprised. It was an emotional surprise. But as far as the current situation was concerned, Germany had sent the most advanced intelligent machine tool to inspect the goods from Lehman military factory. Therefore, Joseph's appearance was normal. Joseph did not notice Charlotte at the door. His eyes were fixed on Anina. He liked Anina, and this hadn't changed until now. Philip was the first to see Charlotte. He greeted him warmly. "Mr. Xia, we meet again." Everyone in the office looked at Charlotte, including Joseph. Joseph looked at Charlotte with a complicated expression, because Charlotte was shot in his house, and now he appeared in front of him again. Moreover, he was the father of rifles in China. Charlotte avoided Joseph's gaze and smiled at Philip. "Mr. Philip, you guys are really fast. You didn't tell me before you came, so I could have prepared. You see, you came suddenly, and I was not prepared at all." Philip said, "This was not my idea." Ling Hao said, "Charlotte, ask your workers to leave. The German people want to visit your workshop." "No problem. I will ask them to go to the hall for a meeting now." Charlotte went to the desk and called Qin Xiang. He was very clear about Ling Hao's intention. This negotiation was very important, but the nature was very special, so it would not be carried out in public. It would only be carried out in secret. The results of this negotiation would not be reported. After the workers left, Charlotte left the office building with the German people and walked to the workshop. Joseph walked to Anina's side, lowered his voice, and said in German, "Anina, what's going on? Isn't he dead? Why is he alive?" I don't know." "Oh yes, how is your mother now?" Anina said. "My mother? My mother is fine." "Oh yes, is he Lucas?" "It can't be. Lucas is already dead." "But they look exactly the same. People in China all look the same. Sometimes I can't tell them apart." "Oh yes, how is your father?" Joseph. Chapter 548. In the workshop, the German personnel visited the production line of the Thunder Horse Army factory, and all of them looked surprised. In fact, in the impression of most Westerners, the most representative of China was the socks and shirts, as well as the cheap vuvuzela used on the football field. As for the weapons, they were either imitated from Russia or Europe and the United States. They were not worth mentioning at all. But now, the advanced production line of the Thunder Horse Army factory, the reasonable layout, and the clean and tidy production environment made their eyes light up. It was incompatible with the situation they had imagined, and their feelings became complicated. Not everyone was happy to see the rise of China, because this rise directly threatened the interests of Western countries. Therefore, there was a technology blockade, trade barriers, and all kinds of discrimination and unfairness. However, under the strict technology blockade of Western countries, a small light weapons company in China had broken through and become a world-class dark horse. Looking at the advanced production line of the Thunder Horse Army factory, looking at the finished XL 2500 sniper rifles and Gale assault rifles that could be left in the workshop, how could these Germans be happy? Among the people from Germany, there were firearms experts, as well as top electrical engineers and mechanics like Joseph. They quickly got into the zone. They walked between the workshops and carefully inspected every machine on the production line. Some even started the machines and tried to operate them. Ling Hao moved closer to Charlotte and lowered his voice. "Lei, is it easy for them to steal your company's technology like this?" Charlotte smiled and said in a low voice, "Brother Ling, don't worry. Those technologies can't be stolen just by looking at them and operating the machine. If they want our technology, they have to exchange it with technology of equal value." Ling Hao patted Charlotte's shoulder and relaxed. "I'm relieved that you said that. After showing them around, we will negotiate with them. You sit next to me. Don't say anything. When you need to say something, I will give you a hint." Charlotte nodded. At this time, Joseph, who had used a smart machine tool to process a small thing, suddenly said, "How is this possible?" Anina walked over. "Joseph, is there a problem?" Joseph said, "Many of the designs of this machine tool give me a familiar feeling. What I want to say is that it's somewhat similar to the smart machine tool I designed. However, its performance is better than the smart machine tool I designed." Anina smiled. "Joseph, both BMW and Mercedes-Benz are producing cars. The cars they produce have 4 wheels, an engine, and a steering wheel. I think this is the similarity you mentioned. They are all intelligent machine tools, so there must be a lot of similarities." Joseph shook his head. "No, I'm very clear about some unique designs. They are unique. Your analogy can't be used in this case." Philip walked over. "Mr. Joseph, have you found anything wrong?" Joseph said, "There are many similarities between the machine tools here and the ones I designed. This is very strange because many of the designs are unique." "What about the performance?" Philip subconsciously looked at Charlotte with a hint of suspicion in his eyes. Joseph was silent for a moment before saying, "The machine tools here are more advanced than the ones I designed. They're more perfect." Philip moved closer to Joseph's ear and whispered, "Let me ask you, after you see their smart machine tool, can you cover our smart machine tool? Reach the level of the smart machine tool here." Joseph thought for a moment and said, "The smart machine tool I designed is already very advanced. It's very difficult to improve its performance. I've been trying, but I can't improve its performance. I didn't expect the smart machine tool here to do it. You asked me if I could improve our smart machine tool. And this is my answer. I can't see the design inside, and it's electrical engineering. I can't do it, unless you get the blueprints and a smart machine tool like this. Philip was very disappointed. After talking for a long time, they still wanted to make a deal. In his opinion, the experts he brought this time should be able to see through the secrets of the Thunder Horse military factory at a glance, and take away the technology of the Thunder Horse military factory without paying any price. It was a good idea, but also very naive. But if an expert like Joseph had eyes like Charlotte's, it would be a different story. But Mr. Philip, Joseph whispered in Philip's ear, if they want to use this technology to exchange for the Typhoon engine technology, it's not worth it for us. If you agree to this deal, it's like we're exchanging diamonds of the same weight for gold of the same weight. Philip sneered, you don't have to worry about that. We've prepared a lot of options for them. 3D printer technology, car engine technology, and some avionics technology. If that's all they have, then they can only exchange for something of the same value. We're not stupid. The conversation took place under Xia Lei's gaze, and he also used the lip-reading spell to decipher the conversation. He whispered to Ling Hao about the conversation between Philip and Joseph. Ling Hao frowned. 3D printer technology? We're not inferior to the European countries. As for car engine technology, that's not what we want. Avionics technology may have some value, but it won't be in this deal. If we can't get the Typhoon engine technology back, then this deal will be canceled. Charlotte's gaze shifted to Anina, and he asked tentatively, Brother Ling, what about Anina? Ling Hao said, if the deal doesn't go through, she'll be brought back to Germany. You have to understand that we won't go against the leaders of the European Union for a woman. Lei, you've done what you should. If you can't help her, she'll understand. Charlotte thought for a moment. What if I can make this deal happen? Ling Hao said, then there's no problem. But what are you going to do? In fact, although he personally led the team to negotiate with the Germans, he wasn't optimistic about this deal. After all, this time they were exchanging for the Typhoon engine technology. The Germans would face pressure from their European allies and the United States, and this was in the context of the rise of China. If there weren't any benefits that tempted the Germans, would they be willing to bear this kind of pressure for two types of gun technology and a slightly better smart machine tool technology? Obviously not. Well, leave it to me. That was all Charlotte said, and then he walked over to Philip and Joseph, who were whispering to each other. He's here, stop talking. Philip saw Charlotte walking over and immediately ended the secret conversation with Joseph. Joseph looked at Charlotte, his eyes full of confusion and suspicion. He had long suspected that Lucas and Charlotte were the same person, and he also suspected that Charlotte had stolen his smart machine tool technology. However, he had no evidence to prove it. Mr. Joseph, I know you're the top electrical engineer in Germany and a top mechanic. You are an expert in this area. What do you think of our smart machine tool? Charlotte went straight to the point. Very good. Joseph said, there are some advanced parts, but I have to be honest, if you want to use it to exchange for our engine technology, you're too naive. Philip observed Charlotte's reaction. Charlotte laughed. Mr. Joseph, you are indeed a top expert in this area. But I want to tell you that what you saw and operated is the lowest level of smart machine tool in our Thunder Horse Army factory. Joseph was stunned for a moment. The lowest level? Charlotte shrugged. Otherwise, how could it appear on the production line for processing pistol parts? Do you think I would use this kind of smart machine tool technology to exchange for your Typhoon fighter engine technology? I wouldn't make such a cheap joke. Joseph said, I don't believe there is a more advanced smart machine tool. Why not? Because it's impossible. Joseph said bluntly, I admit that the smart machine tool here is indeed more advanced than the smart machine tool I researched and manufactured, but the degree of advancement is limited. I'm sure this is the limit. You can't go further than this. Charlotte said lightly, you don't believe it because you still have a prejudice against China's manufacturing industry. We did fall behind for a period of time, but that doesn't mean we will fall behind forever. Philip showed a trace of disdain. He was too lazy to argue with Charlotte. He was sure of his judgment. China, With China's current manufacturing level, it was simply impossible to manufacture a more advanced smart machine tool than this. Philip also said, Mr. Xia, you said you wouldn't make a cheap joke, but in my opinion, this is indeed a cheap joke. Our experts flew all the way from the other side of the world, but so far, we haven't seen your most advanced technology. Don't worry, please come with me. Charlotte smiled and made an inviting gesture. Philip and Joseph looked at each other, but didn't move. What? You don't even have the courage to go and take a look? Charlotte said with a smile. I'll go with you, Joseph said. A large group of Germans and the team, represented by Ling Hao, followed Charlotte out of the first workshop and went to another one. This workshop was a little smaller than the other workshops. The alloy door was locked, and they couldn't see what was going on inside. Anina, open the door, Charlotte said. Anina pursed her lips and smiled sweetly at Charlotte. Then, she walked to the alloy door and entered the password on the electronic lock. Then, she put her eyes in front of scanner. After completing these steps, the alloy door slowly opened. As soon as the alloy door opened, a giant suddenly entered the line of sight of all the visitors. In that instant, Joseph's mouth opened wide, and he couldn't close it anymore. This giant machine tool was the heart of the Thunder Horse Army factory. Whether it was the stability system of the XL 2500 sniper rifle or the shock absorber of the Gale assault rifle, they were all processed here. Those who could enter this workshop were the core engineers and mechanics of the Thunder Horse Army factory, led by Anina. Chapter 549. If the AI machine tools in the Thunder Horse Army factory were described as soldiers, then this AI machine tool in front of them was a general. A general led his soldiers to form a powerful army. And the king of this army was Charlotte. The king of this army made an inviting gesture. His expression was calm, and his body exuded unparalleled confidence. Joseph took large strides towards the AI machine tool. His eyes were filled with astonishment. The German people, led by Philip, also walked in. They were discussing in low voices. The shock that the AI machine tool gave them was obvious. Joseph walked around the AI machine tool. The surprise in his eyes didn't decrease. Instead, it became more and more intense. He was a world-class expert in this field. Just from the details that could be seen with the naked eye, he could conclude that this AI machine tool was the most advanced AI machine tool he had ever seen. There wasn't a machine tool like this in the United States, Germany, or even the entire world. What do you think, Joseph? Philip moved closer to Joseph and asked in a low voice. This, Joseph said excitedly, it's a miracle. This short evaluation shocked everyone on the German side, including Philip. But I don't believe that China can already make this kind of AI machine tool, Joseph said again. In the West, especially in Europe and the United States, the majority of people had deep-rooted prejudice against China and the Chinese. It was very difficult to change just because of an AI machine tool. Sometimes, even when faced with the truth, they would selectively ignore it and not admit it. At this time, Charlotte lightly touched Anina's arm and said to her, Anina, you go and operate it. Let them see. Uh-huh. Anina responded obediently and walked towards the Big Mac intelligent machine tool. The giant integrated intelligent machine tool was quickly started by Anina. She only needed to input instructions into the central computer, and in just 2 to 3 minutes, more than a dozen precision machining parts were processed. These precision machining parts were the key parts of the shock absorber system of the Gale assault rifle. Joseph couldn't wait to check and measure the parts, but after finishing, he was stunned and couldn't say a word. Well? Asked Philip, eager to know Joseph's opinion. Joseph snapped out his daze. This is the highest precision machining I've ever seen. I can't believe that the parts produced by this lathe are flawless. After a pause, he said, Mr. Philip, this is the most advanced intelligent machine tool I've ever seen. We can't make it. At this moment, Joseph was like a warrior who had been defeated in the arena. There was no glory, and he had lost his confidence. Just now, he was still suspecting that Charlotte had stolen his technology, but now he had been conquered by Charlotte. Mr. Joseph, what technology do you think we should use to exchange with them? Philip's voice was very soft. Joseph said in a low voice, to satisfy their demands, we must bring back the technology of this intelligent machine tool. If we had such an integrated intelligent machine tool, our manufacturing industry would be much stronger than it is now. Some plans that cannot be realized now may become reality. Are you sure? I swear I'm sure. Then I know what to do, Philip said in a low voice. I'll negotiate with them later. You can speak, but you have to say that their machine tool isn't that great. We need to get the most benefit with the least cost. I know what you mean. I know what to say, said Joseph. How could such a conversation escape Charlotte's eyes and his lip-reading spell? Looking at Joseph and Philip whispering to each other, he couldn't help but smile. Then he whispered a few words to Ling Hao. Ling Hao didn't say anything. He just nodded. After talking with Ling Hao, Charlotte smiled and said in German, You've seen our machine tool. What's the evaluation of your German expert? Philip gave Joseph a look. Joseph said in German, Not bad, but not as good as I thought. We can actually make this kind of 500-ton integrated intelligent machine tool. I believe that our intelligent machine tool of the same level won't be worse than this. Philip smiled. He didn't say anything, but in his heart, he liked Joseph's evaluation. Anina couldn't help but interrupt. Joseph, do you know what you're talking about? I'm also a mechanic, and I know that the intelligent machine tool you made is far worse than this one. Philip glared at Anina. Anina, don't forget that you're a German. Anina said, I've never forgotten that I'm a German, but a real German is fair and honest. Joseph, I feel sorry for you. You're lying. Joseph looked embarrassed, but he bit the bullet and said, Anina, I'm telling the truth. Anina wanted to say something, but Charlotte beat her to it and said, Anina, stop. Anina shut her mouth as well. Charlotte said, Mr. Philip, whether Mr. Joseph's evaluation is true or not, I don't care. I know the value of my bargaining chip. I've already shown my sincerity. Now it's up to you. Mr. Xia, are you going to negotiate here? Philip said. Charlotte said, why not? Well, please give us some time. We need to discuss, Philip said. No problem, Charlotte said. Under Philip's lead, the German people went to a corner of the workshop and discussed in low voices. Ling Hao frowned. These Germans are really difficult to deal with. Will they agree? Charlotte smiled. Brother Ling, don't worry. I'll take care of this. Ling Hao said, Of course I'm 100% at ease with you, but those Germans are very smart. I don't think this negotiation will go smoothly. Charlotte said, Germans are strict and pragmatic. This is recognized by the world. But few people know that Germans are actually the smartest businessmen. This is not much worse than the Jews. After World War II, Germany was poor, but now it's the leader of Europe. This is proof. Ling Hao said, Yes, that's what I'm worried about. This German team is like a team of businessmen. It's not easy to negotiate. Charlotte smiled. But this time they met me. I'm also a businessman. Brother Ling, give me the right to negotiate, and I will fight for the greatest benefits for our side. Ling Hao was slightly stunned. Give you the right to negotiate? Charlotte said, At least let me try. If I can't do it, our negotiation expert will come up. Ling Hao smiled bitterly. Well, you brat, I want to see how you're going to negotiate with them. 10 minutes later, Philip and the German team arrived in front of the Chinese team. Mr. Xia, we've already discussed this. Philip went straight to the point. Your integrated AI machine tool technology isn't bad, but it's not the best. Your request to exchange the Typhoon fighter engine technology isn't realistic. We're only willing to provide the Leopard 2 tanks technology. Charlotte shook his head. We have our own tank technology, and it's not much different. Not exchanging. Philip's face suddenly became ugly. Mr. Xia, you have to be content. Our Leopard 2 tank is the most advanced tank in the world. Not exchanging, Charlotte said. You. Philip's face became even uglier. He hesitated for a moment. Then add in the 3D printer technology. We also have it. Not exchanging. Then add in the car engine technology. Mercedes-Benz, BMW, and Audi. Whichever you want. Our country has too many cars. In the city, cars can't run as fast as electric cars. Why do we need such a good car engine? Not exchanging. Philip, Joseph interrupted. Mr. Xia, what kind of negotiation attitude is this? There's so many advanced technologies that can bring you great benefits. You shouldn't miss this opportunity. You should agree. That's the wisest choice. Charlotte shrugged. You can go. The German people suddenly looked at each other. They didn't expect Charlotte's attitude to be so tough. Especially Philip. He wanted to use the lowest price to exchange for the greatest benefits. He didn't expect that just as the negotiation started, Charlotte would actually tell them to leave. This attitude, he simply didn't put them, the team representing Germany, in his eyes. Humph. Since you have this kind of attitude, then let's go. Don't forget, Anina has to go back to Germany with us. Philip said and turned to leave. The group of German people angrily looked at Charlotte and followed Philip to leave. Anina looked at Charlotte. Her eyes were filled with helplessness and sadness. Ling Hao was also at a loss. He touched Charlotte's arm and whispered, "What's wrong with you, kid? I gave you the right to negotiate, but you only talked for 2 minutes and you're already chasing people away. Do you know that we have a few new battle models that lack engines and have to be imported from Russia?" Charlotte faintly said, "Don't worry, they will come back. You made them so angry. Will they come back?" Ling Hao was a little angry. Charlotte said, "I will count to 10, then they will come back and negotiate with me. I bet you 100 yuan." Ling Hao said. But just as Ling Hao finished this sentence, Philip suddenly stopped and turned back from the door. Charlotte stretched out a hand to Ling Hao. Ling Hao stared at Charlotte. "You owe me first." He didn't understand why Charlotte was so confident that he could completely control these smart German people. But if he knew that Charlotte could use his left eye and lip reading to read the secret conversations of those German people, he definitely wouldn't bet 100 yuan with Charlotte. Charlotte had never lost a business negotiation. This time, he certainly wouldn't lose. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.